This- Okay. Um, I think we're good. We are live. Yeah, we're live, bitches. Yeah, let's go. Sorry, still recovering from a cold. My voice is mostly back. It's still not quite back, but yeah. Sorry if I sound like Tiffany Haddish or Aquafina. I don't really want to sound like them, but um, yeah. Anyway, hi everyone. I am Timberler15, and excuse me, fuck this cold. And welcome to my rant stream of Kung Fu Panda 4 and Megamind 2. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even want to talk about Megamind 2 because there's really just so much wrong with it that I don't know. I don't know. Fuck it. We're just gonna jump right into it because I don't fucking know at this point. I really don't know what the fuck DreamWorks was doing with that movie, but whatever. Okay, so let's start with the film chronology. And yeah, both of these are, of course, Kung Fu Panda 4, Megamind 2. Both of these are DreamWorks films, as you already know. So these films were released within a week, like they're released a week apart. So Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate, aka Megamind 2, was released on March 1st of 2024. Whereas Kung Fu Panda 4 was released exactly a year, said year, exactly a week later. Um, so these movies, they make me go, DreamWorks. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, seriously, DreamWorks, what's going on? Like, what's happened to you? What's going on? Are you okay? Are you okay, DreamWorks? Do we need to talk? Like, are you okay? Because, like, okay, now to be fair, DreamWorks has always been inconsistent as fuck. Let's just be real. They've always been inconsistent. Like, they're basically the Sonic team of the film industry, where when they have a hit, they have a hit. When they have a bomb or a flop, they have a bomb or a flop. And these two, now, Flip Panda 4 isn't a huge flop, but Megamind 2, I mean. Ooh, oh, DreamWorks, what happened? What happened? Oh, what happened? Are you okay? Are you guys okay? Damn. But anyway, oh yeah, and hi to everyone in the chat. Lego Bro, Nate, Kind Gamer Patrick, Poisonous Maple, Dante Bordy, anybody else who joined. Hey, like, like, what's going on, DreamWorks? And yeah, apparently, according to Maple in the chat, DreamWorks has been having quite a bit of issues with employment over at their company. So, oof. Okay, so let's just get into it. This isn't just happening with DreamWorks, but it's just going around the animation industry along with the gaming industry. You're not wrong. That's the thing. Like the movie industry, like this has been an issue with the film industry for quite some time. And it's the same thing with the gaming industry, where companies put out half-assed products, and I'm being generous when I say the word half-assed. I'm being really generous with that. With at least with Megamind 2. Like it's like I just don't know. I just like what's going on? Like whatever happened to quality over quantity? Why is it the other way around now? Marvel's done this as well. Like you guys know has been having this issue too. Marvel is definitely a big example of a company that's had the issue. of putting out crap like this. I don't know. I just don't fucking know. EA and Insomniac have also suffered from that as well. Okay, I've never really paid much attention to those companies, so I can't say for sure on them. So I can't comment on them, I mean. But, like, damn. Okay, so where do we start? We can start with Kung Fu Panda 4, but where do I start with this? There's just a lot wrong with it. A lot wrong with it. Like, if I were to describe this movie with one word, I don't even know why I start with the positives. Fuck it, I'm starting with the negatives. If I were to I'm sorry, but that's you guys know me. Like, if a movie is that bad, I will start with the negatives first. Usually, not always, but usually. So, Kung Fu Panda 4. Okay, if I were to describe the movie with just one word, it would be lazy. It is a lazy ass movie. It is very by the numbers, very predictable, very generic. It's just so mid. It's probably the most mid movie I've seen in a while, if I'm going to be honest. Even New Super Mario Brothers movie didn't feel this mid to me, and that one felt mid to me at least. There's just it's like, and I know that like I know Maple or someone else in the chat is going to bring up that this movie was originally going to be very different. I'm aware of that, and it is a huge disappointment, just like the movie itself. So I'm just going to acknowledge that right now because I know that this movie was originally supposed to be something else, but through executive meddling, we got whatever this was. Yeah. Anyway, um, I don't fucking know. Like, you can say that about both movies, to be honest. Yeah, but don't worry. I will get to Megamind 2. I will get to Megamind 2 because I watched it yesterday and I couldn't watch it in one sitting. I had to take a few breaks here and there because I just got bored with it. I got bored with it. Kind of like with, kind of like, kind of like it was like how I felt with Ice Age: The Adventures of Buck Wild. Because which both movies are actually on the same level of quality, if I'm going to be honest. Actually, no. Buck Wild is actually worse than Megamind 2, but that's not saying much. There's really isn't much of a difference between those two movies, but they gave me that same feeling of this is shit, this is boring, I want to watch something else. And I actually could not watch both movies in just one sitting. I couldn't. So, yeah. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, yeah, apparently there was, if you read the interview, which Saberspark mentioned in his review of this movie, which I watched. Um, the there was this director, I forgot what his name was, but he basically fucked up the story. Like there was this other woman, Maple mentioned her in the chat, I believe, who had a very different vision for the movie, but then that other guy had to go and ruin it or ignore it. Like she was literally ignored throughout the entire process. So Kung Fu Panda 4, we're talking about that first. So so what was I talking about? Fuck. I literally forgot what I was talking about. Shit. Damn. Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, she was basically ignored. Mike Mitchell. I thought that's who it was. I thought that was who it was. Yes, Mike Mitchell. This guy who can't write worth a damn. Gives me Takashi Iizuka vibes. Or Tetsuya Nomura vibes. Where it's like these guys can't write. It's like that with him. Mike Mitchell. Who clearly should not have been the director of this film. And that's not to say that he's a bad director in general, it's just that he just outright sucked with this film. I can't comment on how he is as a director overall, but in this film, he just outright sucked. He sucked. What he did was shit. You fucked up. You did. So yeah, like originally, so let's see, Stephanie Stein. Yeah, that was her name. She wanted the movie to be different. She wanted to give the fans what they wanted, and there are going to be other differences too in the story, but they all got axed, and we got whatever this was. So basically, all the main characters returned except the Furious Five. Yeah, they actually no, they did return, but at the end of the movie, and only what one of them had lines, or two, one or two of them, because you see, this movie had. Let me look this up. I don't want to. I don't want to like get this wrong. Let me just check really fast because let me just check really fast. I meant to do this before. I should have done this before the stream, but I literally just thought of this right now. Let me just fucking check this really fast. Let me just check this. Okay, I'm just gonna open up all these because I want to get my facts right. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, so the first film had a budget of $130 million, and it made. I'm not gonna talk about the box office stuff. That's not important right now. The second film had a budget of 150 million. The third film had a budget of 145 million. Let's see what the fourth film had. 85 million. Okay. That's a little alarming. That's that's almost close to like half. What was the first one? 130 million. That's kind of close to like half the budget of the first film, and you can see it in the movie because many of the voice actors didn't come back. Most of them, I don't even remember how many didn't come back, but a lot of them didn't come back. And I'm like, DreamWorks, what happened? Did something go wrong? DreamWorks, what are you doing? Um, I don't know. I don't know. I just that was Mantis. I thought it was Mantis. Yes, thank you. Mantis was the only Furious Five character that actually had lines. I don't know. Fuck, man. Yeah, they really should have gotten Jennifer Nelson to come. Jennifer Yu, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your real name correctly. Jennifer Nelson to come back and direct with Stephanie Stein co-directing. Yeah, that's what should have happened, but that's not what happened. It felt like this was originally meant to be a movie for a streaming service with that low of a budget. Yeah, I know. That's kind of alarming. 85 million compared to like what, 130 million for the first, 140, 150 million for the second, and 145 million for the third. Why only 85 million for this one? That's kind of alarming. I don't know what the fuck. What was going on, DreamWorks? What was going on? What happened? But anyway, let's move on. So, okay, so although I'm glad you guys mentioned the background because this film's background was quite interesting because again, you had a number of things that didn't make it into the movie. But listen, like the thing is that a movie can have a rough background, but still turn out pretty good. Like Toy Story 2, for example. I mean, we all know that that movie, like, that movie had quite a crazy history, and it still turned out great. Like, but then you have a movie like this, and it's where it had a crazy history, and it turned out shit. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, so where do I start with the negatives? Because there are quite a number of negatives. I feel like this kind of like I feel like Megamind 2 also has this problem. You know, when you watch Kung Fu Panda 4, you get the feeling that it lacks the essence, the spirit of the first three films, where it felt like the writers for the film didn't watch the first three films or didn't care about the first three films. And it's the same thing with Megamind too, not, where you watch it and it's like whoever wrote it, I swear to God, Megamind 2 had the exact same writers as the ones for the first film, so I don't know how that happened, but it's like you watch the movie and it's like you wonder if they watched the first film, and to be fair, these aren't the only movies that do this. I've seen this with other movies, like Ralph Breaks the Internet, for example, where it's like you have a sequel that literally ignores everything that the first movie or first movies does, and I'm just like, it's okay if you want to add more to your fucking franchise or your lore or something like that, but this is not the fucking way to do it. It's not the way to do it. So, so I guess you could say that the first negative is that this does not feel like a Kung Fu Panda film. I refuse to call it one. I mean, it has the choreography regarding the action scenes, and the animation. It has those feel like a Kung Fu Panda film, but the actual story, the themes, the characters, no, just no. This does not feel like a Kung Fu Panda film. Sorry. Like, oh damn, it's raining outside where I am. This does not feel like a Kung Fu Panda film. I refuse to call it one. Wow, it's like Ralph Breaks the Internet. Kung Fu Panda, more like Kung Fu Bad. Exactly. This honestly felt like the kind of movie that everyone thought the first Kung Fu Panda movie was going to be like a watered down movie for little kids with lazy humor. But oh wait, I'm sorry, no, those two should not be read together. But yeah, it's what Maple basically said it very well in this comment. Kung Fu Panda 4 is a watered down movie for little kids with lazy humor, by the number storytelling, predictable outcomes and themes, and not a single risk being taken whatsoever. It doesn't feel like a Kung Fu Panda film. You cannot tell me that this feels like a Kung Fu Panda film. It does not feel like one. It doesn't. Because for one thing, the Furious Five are gone, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but the thing is that, like, because, in Kung Fu Panda 3, like, most of the Furious Five were not present in the film, but at least there was a good reason for it, it, whereas here, it just feels like they were just pushed aside because, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, how do I describe it? I don't know. It feels like they should have just been, they should have just had minor roles at most. But I'm not gonna. But again, the movie could have worked with like them not being in the film, but they feel like an afterthought here. They do and I think I should not talk about this right now because this leads to another point I'm going to talk about later regarding who the successor to the Dragon Warrior should be. I should probably talk about this point later, but the Furious Five, to me, they kind of felt disrespected in this film, but I'll get to that later. So, I forgot the Furious Five existed. Apparently, so did the writers. Because, but which is weird because it's like, who the fuck is calling me? Why is he calling me right now? Hang on, guys. I'm sorry. Let me talk to him really fast. Okay, sorry about that. I had to take care of something with my brother. So, okay, here, hang on. I guess we should talk about. I feel like I think the Furious Five are actually going to have a bit more of a presence in the film, but if I'm remembering what I heard from the interview, what I read from the interview, I'm probably wrong. I have to go back and reread it. But I think they were actually like not going to be shoehorned in at the last minute. I think they were actually going to be in the movie a bit more. But either that, I don't know. I'd have to go and look, but maybe Maple can help clear that up. But like, still, it's like this feels weird, like literally throwing them in there at the last minute, and for no reason other than to train the successor, who doesn't deserve to be the successor, by the way. But we'll get into that. Actually, no, we're gonna get into that right now because that brings me to my next point: the successor of the Dragon Warrior, who is this character named Jen. I think that's her name. Jen. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know because honestly, this character was so irrelevant and uninteresting to me that I know that honestly I forgot what her name was. After watching the film, I literally forgot what her name was because she was just that uninteresting and uninspired and boring. Oh, okay, that's what I figured. I was like, either they were going to be ignored completely, or they were like going to have more of a role in the film. Okay, so yeah, that makes more sense. So they were going to be ignored completely. Okay, that makes more sense. I think that was what it was. It's like I know it was had to be either one or the other. Like either they're going to be ignored completely or they're going to have a greater role. Because actually, I think that's what it was. That they were going to be ignored completely. Because honestly, I really feel like they should not have even been in the movie. Now that I think about it, I know I said otherwise, but like it just feels like putting them there at the end of the movie. No, just you should have just had them taken out completely. So Jen, this character. She is, let's see, she's generic. She's generic. I'm sorry. I did not mean to repeat myself there. She's generic, bland, uninspired, predictable, and just overall boring. She's all these things. As Maple said, she was the most average gray character you can think of. Like she's meant to be this spunky, troublemaking sidekick with a troubled past who, who has done bad things, but deep down wants to be a good person and grows and she's supposed to grow through her journey with Poe, or she betrays him, and then she tries to redeem herself in the lamest way possible. And it's like, yo, I'm not against the idea of using common tropes like that, but could you at least be more interesting about it? Because that's literally the most generic sidekick that DreamWorks could ever come up with. Like, she's just that boring. She's so basic. She's basic as hell. Like, holy shit. How do you make a character? Now, she could have been an interesting character. She could have been an interesting character. But the writing around her, she suffers from she suffers from the same problems that the protagonist of the movie Wish, Disney's movie Wish had, where again you have a generic stock character, like just a generic archetype, like oh well, let's just have a spunky young character who wants to go against the rules and she wants to like do whatever's best for her kingdom or what the fuck ever. It's like it's kind of like that here with Jen, where she's also a generic character but for different reasons, and it's just lame. But yeah, I don't care about this character. She's just that boring and uninspired. She should never have even been a character. I'm just gonna be she should straight up have not been in the movie. And apparently, she was the movie. The plot of the movie was gonna be different. It was gonna be like Master Shifu. I think he was gonna get kidnapped. And then I forgot from exactly who was going to kidnap him, but Poe was supposed to go and rescue him. But then we went and got to this. So, we got this instead, I mean. And yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Meant to fix the Rantstream tile. I was gonna do Trolls Band Together today, but I don't really care much about that movie, so we're gonna just save it for another day. And I'll do it with Ruby, Gilman, Tina. Actually, no, I'll just cover all three Trolls movies. I could just do that. Yeah, I'll just have that be its own trilogy, its own Rantstream, all the Trolls movies. Yeah, that's better because I've been meaning to cover the other two Trolls movies anyway. You can honestly switch her and Tai Lung, and you almost get the same story when you really think about it. I mean, that's not wrong. The only difference between the two is just morality. Whereas Zhen leans more on the side of good, Tai Lung leans more on the side of bad. But they are similar characters. And it's just like, because like literally, Tai Lung betrays Master Shifu. Zhen betrays Po. And Po and Master Shifu were masters. So, oop, yeah, you're not clever, DreamWorks. You're not slick. You're not. I'm sorry. But anyway, and I mean, like, it's not like you can't have that. I'm not saying that you can't have parallels in writing, but to do it in such a ham-fisted way like this, fam, you gotta be more creative than that. You gotta be more subtle than that. Come on, come on, bitch, do better, do better. Don't be like Illumination and create generic half-ass stories with good animation because that's what this is. Oops. So yeah, I don't care. I will shade Illumination. They need to do better. Anyway, the Mario movie was honestly just a fluke for them because Nintendo was involved. But let's say I think that's it. I think that's all I can say for Zhen's character. Oh no, no, that's not all. That's not all. So at one point it was revealed that she was the adopted daughter of the chameleon. We'll talk about that character later. As Maple said in the chat, we'll talk about her later. She's another character that's just as bad, if not worse, than Zhen. But she's the adopted daughter of the chameleon. And the thing is, though, that their relationship was never properly explored in the movie. So when, like, when Jen like literally had this moment of defiance against her master, I didn't really care. You didn't have a good build up to it, so why the fuck should I care? Like, you could have spent more on that. Not to mention that the chameleon was implied never to have really cared about Jen at all. So it's like, okay, so what's the point of this? What's the point of making a big deal out of her betraying her master when her master didn't give a fuck about her in the first place? It's just like I just and oh my god, like and she also has this one moment in the movie where and it's so stupid. So Poe gets trapped by this magical metal shit that she can't break out of with his kung fu. He can, but we'll get to that in a bit. Jen, he's like, no, Jen, now you have to go and take her on. But Jen's like, I can't do it. But Paul's like, no, you can. You have to believe in yourself. And she takes the dragon staff, what the fuck ever it's called, and I don't care at this point anymore. And she does she spins around, does these moves with it, and then hits the chameleon just one time. And the chameleon at this point is like some sort of amalgamation of all the kung fu masters or warriors, all included. Which is dumb, but we'll get to that later. There's a lot to unpack with the chameleon's character. She gets hit once. She doesn't stay down. It hits her hard, but she doesn't stay down. And it's meant to be this big triumphant moment for Jen. I'm like, no, it's not. All you just did was literally blast her with magical energy, and that was it. And it literally did not keep her down. And then Poe ends up escaping the fucking metal cage, which he could have done at any time. The movie even says this. And then he goes and finishes the job himself. And it's like, okay, so what was the point of having Jen do anything if Poe isn't going to be able to do it himself? I just I'm so frustrated with the writing in this movie. I can't with this. I just this honestly felt like a movie that was made by Illumination rather than DreamWorks, right? Because even though DreamWorks, is not consistent, at least they put effort into what they do. They take risks. Unlike Illumination, who just plays it safe and does the easiest thing. DreamWorks is different. They take risks. They're not afraid to, give everything they've got, even if it doesn't turn out well. That's not the case with this film. It plays things too safely and not even all that well, if I'm gonna be honest. I can't with this movie. I can't. Like I was like, no, I already knew the movie was going to be bad. Don't get me wrong. I already knew that the movie was going to be bad. I knew that it was going to be bad. I hadn't even watched any trailers, but I had heard a few things about it, and I was like, yeah, it's going to be bad. And it ended up being bad. So I'm not surprised. I won't even say I don't even think disappointed is the right word. Just more like annoyed, frustrated, irritated. I'm not disappointed in the movie itself because I knew it was going to suck. I'm just disappointed in DreamWorks for not doing better, you know? That's just how I feel. Hmm. So Jen is a shitty character. Oh, and there's another thing that doesn't make sense about her character. In fact, a number of things don't make sense about her character. I already talked about one of them. Her supposed relationship with the chameleon, which was just told but never shown, and it wasn't even told all that well. Um, so she knows a lot of kung fu. Where did she learn it? Because the chameleon certainly didn't teach her because she couldn't because she couldn't do it. She couldn't have taught Jen because apparently, and this is we'll get to her later, but oh my god, the chameleon. Ooh, I can't wait to rip that character a new one. She she was she was never taught kung fu because many the teachers that she went to thought she couldn't do it because of her size and appearance, which is stupid, and you all already know why, but we'll get to that in a moment. So if she didn't teach Jen the ways of kung fu, who the fuck did? Although I guess you could argue that, oh, maybe she just hired other people to teach Jen. Okay, but it's like, I just like, why not have Jen teach you? What? I just, I just, I'm so frustrated. So why didn't you just have her teach you? Why didn't you? I just, uh, okay, well, even if it's not kung fu, like, clearly it's some sort of traditional fighting, some sort of martial arts. Maybe have the chameleon learn that and then develop on it. Like to show, okay, she does have potential. If she can master this, maybe she can master kung fu. But no, it's just like you could have had Shen teach you. You could have had Shen teach you some, at least some sort of fighting. That would have been better than nothing. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with this movie. Stop. Okay. I'm just done with it. And see, like the thing is that Jen's fighting style was actually pretty good. She even put Poe on the ropes a few times. She even put Poe on the ropes a few times. Watch the beginning of the film. She actually gave Poe a run for his money. She lost anyway, but she had potential. You could have passed that on to the chameleon, Jen. So why the fuck didn't you? Like, um, this movie. Okay, let's go on to the chameleon already. I'm done with this character. Okay. Oh wait, no, no. There was one more thing that Maple said in the chat that I wanted to point out. Oh my God. So so she was voiced by Aquafina. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to shade Aquafina, but clearly she just doesn't get the best characters. She doesn't. She really fucking doesn't. And this is just another instance of that. And as Maple said in the chat, as for Jen, Aquafina literally just felt like she was playing herself like she usually tends to with her animated roles. Yeah, like this thing, she just plays herself. She doesn't play a character. She's not really a good actress, if I'm going to be honest. I don't think she's terrible, but she's just not the greatest actress. She just doesn't know how to assume the role of a character without sounding like just Aquafina being Aquafina. and that's not really what you want to do when you're acting. When you act, you want to, be able to assume a different character's identity, their psyche, their personality, everything. Aquafina just feels like Aquafina here, and it's just irritating. I really think she should work on her acting skills before trying her hand at movies because she's not. I don't think she's a bad actress. It's just that I don't think she's a good one either. So, yeah, sorry. Okay, so yeah, like under the right circumstances, Aquafina can actually deliver a good performance. But this isn't one of those circumstances. Okay, so let's go to the chameleon already. There are so many things wrong with. I guess I could put this as a. Let me put this as. I mean, it really just ties into the next 2 points I'm going to talk about. The next point, I mean, but I'll put this point in first. Okay, so let's talk about the chameleon. I'm just gonna be upfront about it. The chameleon is by far, I really mean it, even worse than Kung Fu Panda 3's villain, which was who he wasn't bad, but he clearly wasn't as on par with the first two. But the chameleon is by far the worst. I can't spell today. The worst Kung Fu Panda villain in the series. By far the worst villain in the series. We all know this. I know this. You know this. Everyone knows this. She is the worst villain. He had an interesting idea, but the execution was absolutely awful. So, okay. Where do I start with her? There's just so much wrong with her character. I guess let's start with the fucking name. Chameleon. The Chameleon. Out of out of, uh, out of all the names you could have picked for this character, like you pick the Chameleon. How boring, generic, uninspired, and flat of a name is that? I just like the Chameleon, really? Like, oh, like that's the name of the villain you're gonna pick? Like Tylon, Lord Shen, I think that was his name. Hi. All fine names. The Chameleon. Sorry, I just can't. Chameleon. The Chameleon. Okay, I'm not saying that you can't have the word "the" in a villain's name, but this is not how to do it, fam. Yeah, I will get to that in a moment, Maple. Hold on to that thought because you made a really good point in the chat, which I fully agree with. Um, but yeah, like yeah, she's the worst villain. Let me just start with the name. If your villain is so bad that even the name is shitty, then you have a problem. So I'm just gonna say this for a number of reasons. Let's have a bullet point within the bullet point. I'm popping off. I don't care, guys. I'm popping off. Let's go. Let's go. I am popping off. So her name is I should not be saying that word. I'm sorry. Her name is stupid. I try not to say that word, but there are times where I get so triggered by something that that word just slips out. You know? So her name is just stupid. Her name is just utterly stupid. It's not something that invokes fear. It's not something that sounds cool or badass. It's just a basic generic name. I spent a few minutes ranting about her name. We're not even talking about her character yet. That's how bad she is. Okay, so let's go on to the second problem with her character. So, okay, so her character doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. Like, okay, does not make any sense. It just doesn't. So her backstory, her struggle, her conflict is that she wants to be a kung fu master, or at least a kung fu warrior, but she can't because every teacher that she's been to has told her that she's too weak or too smaller. Like her, she just clearly doesn't have the physical fortitude or the appearance to be a kung fu master. Except that you have fucking Mantis, who is one of the Furious Five, who's several times smaller than her, and is a kung fu warrior, and is strong as hell. And proportionally speaking, he's actually the strongest one out of everyone in the cast because he can literally lift like hundreds of times his weight or tens of times his weight. So pound for pound, he's the strongest. In the terms of absolute strength, Hydrus is the strongest, but in terms of pound for pound strength, Mantis is the strongest, which makes sense if you consider physics, and plus it's, movie logic. But it's like, so if fucking Mantis can become a kung fu master, a fucking bug who's really small but kicks a lot of ass, what's the feelings excuse? I just can't. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Like just this movie's so bad it's making my voice fuck up. That's how bad it is. It's not just the cold, it's also the movie. I blame the movie for my voice loss, for my laryngitis. So I just I can't. You have Mantis. You have Mantis. And what's the chameleon whining about? Although to be fair, it's not really her fault. It's the writer's fault for putting that stupid ass conflict on her. And another thing that's really stupid about her character, she has sorcery. Here's the thing though, sorcery wasn't. See, this is kind of goes back to that point earlier where I said this didn't feel like a Kung Fu Panda film because it felt like it ignored the lore of the previous three stories. Sorcery wasn't really a thing in Kung Fu Panda. It really wasn't. It really was not a thing. Now, the manipulation of chi was a thing. That wasn't like the force or any sort of magic energy. It was just energy you could like manipulate to yourself and transfer to others and use it to fight. It's not really like it's not really any sort of magical energy. Like that really wasn't a thing in Kung Fu Panda. Not even in the third film where there was a really big emphasis on chi. So where did the sorcery come from? And if you have sorcery, then why bother with kung fu? That kind of breaks your lore because if you have, and I've seen other works of fiction do this, and it's absolutely infuriating. If you have sorcery that can literally let you steal people's martial arts or shapeshift into different beings who seem to possess the same, who seem to possess the same strength as those beings, then why even bother with kung fu? It's like It's like it's like they didn't think the premise of the movie all the way through. And that's exactly what happened. If you have a character like this who's really broken, then what's the point of Kung Fu? Because literally Poe was struggling against her. His Kung Fu was no good against her throughout most of the fight. So, I mean, there was some moments where Poe was getting some good hits in, but clearly, the chameleon is a little too powerful for her own good. She's kind of broken if you think about it. So it's like if you have sorcery and shapeshifting, then fuck kung fu. Do what you want, bitch. Do what you want. Like, I don't know. I'm spinning all over the place. But who the fuck cares? It's my room. Anyway, Yeah, that could have been a more interesting idea for her character, Maple. I completely agree with you. Make it so that, like, maybe make it so that, like, she wasn't taught kung fu because, oh, she's a lizard, and lizards are considered to be shifty, slippery beings. That would have made a lot more sense than her being ignored simply because, oh, she's just too small and insignificant, or looks insignificant. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't fucking know. They could have just done that. Just because she's got those moves doesn't mean she doesn't know how to use it. Yeah, I consider that, but she literally doesn't seem to have any problems using the moves throughout most of the fight. I mean, there are times where she gets knocked on her ass, but like she really doesn't have any problems fighting against Poe throughout most of the fight. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna say she was all that experienced. She didn't look all that experienced, but she clearly fought it well enough to give Poe a run for his money. So it's like I don't know. It's like, fam, if you have that, then fuck Kung Fu. It's like I don't know. I don't know. And and what else? There was another thing about her character. Oh yeah, getting back to the whole relationship with her with Zen. Again, it was basically told rather than shown, and she doesn't even really care all that much about Zen. So who the fuck cares if Zen betrays her? Who cares? Like, cause like if you like those two technically. I mean, well, Zen cared about her master, but not the other way around. So who cares? It's like the equivalent of looking up cheat codes on how to beat certain levels in the games, but then not being able to do so without them. Basically, see, they could have done something with that. I feel like that they could have. I feel like they were trying to go for that, but didn't do a very good job at it. Because honestly, the way Poe defeats her is literally by just using his dragon staff, not through kung fu, but by using his dragon staff. Like, here's what could have happened in the fight. Maybe make it so that Chameleon starts to use the kung fu powers, but then Paul, kind of claps her at first. Just like just because you have those moves doesn't mean you know how to use them. But then the Chameleon starts getting more and more desperate and starts like using more and more of her power, and then starts giving more problems. And then like I feel like it could have been like that. And then Paul would have just used the used the dragon staff as a last resort. Because I feel like they were trying to go for that, but kind of failed. So, oops. So, yeah, that's not how I would have gone about doing it. But what the fuck ever. So the thing is that another thing about the chameleons. Oh wait, I forgot. Oh, I mean, I already mentioned it there, so I guess I won't mention it here. Oh, I forgot to mention. I mean, I technically mentioned it, but I forgot to type it down. She's kind of broken. So let's go with that. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Like they could have gone with that, where it's like, okay, you know that you have the kung fu moves, but just because you have them doesn't mean you know how to use them. Or could have taught her that through the fight, but no, she does just fine throughout most of the fight. So it's like they could have done that, but it was such a missed opportunity. But yeah, exactly. Like just because you can copy somebody's moves doesn't mean you know how to use them. Like you could have done something with that. And so basically, there was a miss. there's a missed opportunity for a theme here about not cheating and learning the ropes properly. That's basically how I'm going to phrase that because that's they could have gone for that. So, but they didn't do it well. So I'm going to slam the movie for that. See, Maple, you got why weren't you one of the writers? Why were you not one of the writers? Why were you not one of the writers? Because you literally said exactly what the movie should have been about, and probably what it could have been about with the right kind of executive meddling. Actually, can executive meddling ever be a good thing? I'm not even sure about that. You know what? Fuck it. Never mind. But anyway, but yeah, it's like here's the thing though. As people point out in the chat, the chameleon actually did have some parallels with Poe. Like, how Poe in the first movie was basically thought what people thought of him as, oh, he's not going to be a dragon warrior. Like, look at him. He's fat. He's clumsy. He's too trusting. He's a loser. And then he ended up being the dragon warrior. The chameleon they could have done something similar with the chameleon, but make her a villain instead. Because when you think about it, actually no, never mind. Scratch that. I was going to say something, but that's not really valid. It wasn't valid. But yeah, they could have had like some sort of parallel between Poe and the chameleon. Like that could have actually given them an interesting relationship with each other, as Maple pointed out in the chat. And then Poe could have reached out to the chameleon that way and convinced her, hey, it's never too late to change. And I'm sorry you never got the chance to learn the kung fu you wanted. I could teach you. You don't have to do this. Like that could have been something. Like they could have made this new story work. It was going to be very different, but they could have made this new story work. They could have done that. And I've actually would have preferred it this way too, even over the original idea. But no, they fucked that up too. So yeah, that's the thing. There's supposed to be this theme of change, this theme of redemption throughout the movie. But it's never delivered very well. Not with Jen, and certainly not with the chameleon. So yeah, like really she could have had such a unique relationship with Poe. And I think Maple pointed out that this idea was hinted at a few times in the movie, but barely. But honestly, I wouldn't have noticed because I just didn't care at that point. So sorry. Yeah, this character was just a waste. She could have been good. She really could have been good. She had the thing is that she did have all the tools to be a good villain. She had a good motive. She had she had an interesting backstory. She could have had a she had she had a potentially interesting dynamic with her pupil, but none of that was put to good use. Hmm. So, oop, sorry. So let's see. She could, I guess I need to keep my tenses consistent. I'm just gonna everything in the past tense now. Oops, did not. Okay. Sorry, I'm a grammar geek. Anyway, she could have had an interesting parallel with Poe. And I love parallels. Parallels, when used in storytelling, can actually be quite effective. It can help bring out the best or worst of traits in, characters. I use parallels in my stories all the fucking time. Well, I mean, not all the fucking time, but like a number of times when I need to. But and parallels are fine as long as they're not ham-fisted because there are stories that actually ham-fist the parallels in Kingdom Hearts. Sorry, Hera and Riku. But there are movies that actually do parallels pretty well, and video games and stories in general. There are those that do parallels pretty well. But this was a wasted opportunity, so sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I think that's it for the Chameleon's character. I think that's it. I'm not a writer because I would have likely been dismissed as a nobody, just like poor Stephanie Stein was. Yeah, see, this is why I, I would absolutely love the idea for my love the opportunity for my story to be brought to the big screen. Any of my stories to be brought to the big screen. When you have executive meddling, as well as things like, say, favoritism or ostracism or whatever, all that kind of shit going on in the film industry, or just or like the entertainment industry in general, it makes me not want to like have my works brought to the big screen. It just makes me not want to do that. It really makes me not want to do that. Because I'm afraid that this kind of shit will happen to my story. It's like, you know what? On second thought, maybe I should just not try to get my stuff on the big screen. Not that I've ever tried, but yeah, when you have shit like this, I don't blame Stephanie Stein for. I feel bad for her, honestly. Like she was done so dirty. She really was. They did my girl dirty. So, are there any other? I think that's all I have to say for the chameleon. For a character who had such an interesting night, she was an interesting thing. Like she had an interesting thing going on. She could have been something, but but like I don't know. It's like it's just wasted potential. It's only those who have already proven themselves to be talented that get any sort of creative freedom. Studio meddling is I feel like studio meddling is at an all-time high right now with big franchises. Yeah, pretty much. You'd have to like really show yourself as like really talented to have any sort of creative freedom. Because otherwise people are just gonna stomp all over you or trample all over you or ignore you. And it's really fucking irritating. Yeah, Viola Davis did a good job with the role. So, the chameleon. She did well, but the voice acting actually in general wasn't bad, but I'll get to that later. She was a frustrating character. You know what I would have liked for her as a name? And you guys can disagree with me on this, but honestly, I feel like the slithering, what's the name for sorceress, yeah, sorceress, the slithering sorceress. I actually would have liked that as a name better than the chameleon, the slithering sorceress. I would have liked that, and it would have tied into the whole idea that Maple had earlier, where it's like, oh, um, she's a lizard, so she's gonna be all slippery and shifty and sneaky and shit. We can't trust her with kung fu. That literally would have tied into the idea. The slithering sorceress. I can't say words today. And it would have, it would have like, you know, had another theme of her like, not learning not to be bogged down by people's expectations, where she's like, just because people see me as some shifty ass person doesn't mean I have to embrace that. Which is what I did with the title, like the slithering sorceress, where she gave herself that title because she basically felt like people saw her as as someone as shifty and untrustworthy. So she kind of embraced that. They could have done something with that. Oh man, but oh well. You have also the returning villains from the other movies, but not really. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's the thing. Like, oh, I need a second slide for this. I need a second slide. I shouldn't need a second slide, but I do. Yeah, if you have more than if you have more than one slide for the negatives when you're ranting about a movie, it's a bad movie. It's a bad movie. I'm just gonna erase all of this. Okay, so okay, let's talk about. Oh my God, there's just so much to rant about. I'm glad I took out Trolls Band Together because there's so much shit in these two movies here, Megamind 2 and Kung Fu Panda 4, that I don't even think I'll have time to talk about Trolls Band Together, which is basically a basic ass film, but we'll get to that later. I know some people like it. I'm just like, no, I don't. But we'll get to that later. Um, it sucks. Sorry, not sorry. So, okay, negatives. So we have the villains. The villains returned, but not really. Like they didn't return. I mean, they did, but then again, they didn't. What I mean by that is none of the voice actors, original voice actors, came back for them, and most of them are literally just background characters. Actually, they're all background characters. Even Tai Lung is a background character in this movie, which is, I mean, it's just like you could have had something great with these guys, but no, they're literally there to just be fodder for the chameleon. Where it's like she sucks up their powers, locks them in cages, and then all they just do is just watch Poe fight the chameleon, and that's it. And it's like that's all you can do with these guys. These guys that literally, I mean, not all of them were villains, but but it's like these returning. I should say the villains and other warriors. Sorry. They return, but not really. Or it's like you have them there, but you don't do much with them. Kind of like with the Furious Five, except it's even worse here because it's like these guys are supposed to. These guys have technically a bit more of an important role, but then they. It's like you have this. They certainly did not get the same treatment that the returning villains got in Spider-Man: No Way Home. No, they did not. Probably kind of could have done something like that, like what No Way Home did. But no, they didn't do it. They didn't fucking do it. I just don't fucking know. I just don't fucking know. Like, it's like, y'all, this movie is just filled to the brim with wasted potential in so many ways. The sidekick, Zhen, is wasted potential. The fucking chameleon, the main villain of the movie, is wasted potential. The appearances of the Furious Five and the villains and the other warriors, they're all wasted potential. Like everything is wasted potential in this film because they wanted to play it safe and they wanted to go by the book. They wanted to do. They did not want to try hard. Or no, actually, there was effort put into it at first, but then there was backpedaling, and then we got this. Yeah, only Tai Lung's actor returned. Everyone, and he had the most lines. Literally, that's the thing. Like, that's what I was talking about with the budget earlier. Where it's like, why is the budget like lower, substantially lower than the others? And then it shows where it's like they didn't even get most of the actors back, the voice actors, I mean. And just like, ooh, yeah, and it shows. So, Tai Lung was the only one that had. Tai Lung was literally the only character that had. He had the most lines out of all the returning characters. That the ones that had their powers sucked out of them. Not even powers, abilities, I should say, abilities, kung fu abilities. Yeah, it's like yeah, you could tell that there was a bigger story. There was going to be a bigger story for Tai Lung, which is what I heard as well. There was going to be a bigger story for him, from what I've heard. But, you know, that was axed too. A lot of interesting things in this movie were axed. I mean, it's okay for a story to undergo changes, but when it's for the worse, no. Just no. Sorry. Lord Shen didn't even get to speak. I was waiting for him to speak. Lord Shen, I mean, sorry. keep mixing up Jen and Shen's names. Lord Shen. He didn't even get to speak. I was literally waiting for him to speak. He was the one I wanted to hear from the most. I was like, ooh, like he's the villain from my favorite Kung Fu Panda movie, Kung Fu Panda 2. I was like, I want to hear him speak. He doesn't speak. He doesn't speak. He could have. I'm so mad. I'm just so mad. Like, come on, you couldn't have made him speak. You couldn't make him speak. And I think was Kai there too? I think he was. Honestly, I don't even fucking remember. I think he was, but I honestly don't remember. Probably because like out of all the original three villains, he was the most forgettable to me. Well, like not like completely forgettable, just more forgettable than the other two. Like just not as strong as the other two, if I should say. I should say it that way. But he was still a decent villain, just not as memorable as the other two. But like, um, yeah, like it's just a waste. I guess the studio couldn't afford to have Gary Oldman and J.K. Simmons to come back. I guess not. I guess not. I guess not. That's just so sad. What the fuck? This movie, oh man. It could have been good. It actually had the potential to be on the level of Kung Fu Panda 1, maybe even Kung Fu Panda 2, which is which is a pretty hard feat, but I'm not saying that that it wasn't possible. But when you have such shit writing and executive middling, well, get this. I just grow tired of executive meddling in general. And it just makes me want to stay the fuck away from the entertainment industry in general. I just don't have the patience for that. It's basically a dream to have complete creative freedom in the entertainment industry nowadays. It really is. It really shouldn't be, but it is. I just so yeah, basically I guess you could say that this goes into the next point. The Furious Five, honestly, I really think they should have just stayed out of the movie completely. They returned, but who cares? Who cares? Like only one of them has any lines. Mantis. It's the same fucking problem with the other characters, the villains and the warriors that returned and got their kung fu abilities stolen. Where it's like you have all these characters, but only one of them gets any lines, and it's Mantis who gets lines. It's just like, fam. And that leads me to my next point, but we'll get to that in a bit. There's still a number of things I have to talk about with this film. A number of things. A number of things. I'm not talking about the positives. So, but yeah, like it's a Furious Five. They showed up at the end, but I did not care. I just didn't care. It's like, oh, we bring them back. We'll bring them back for fan service. Yeah, see, this is something that the new Super Mario Brothers movie at least kind of got right. It's fan service, where it's like, let's bring all these cool Mario elements back that people loved, and people loved them. Where it's like, okay, with Kung Fu Panda 4, let's bring back all these characters people loved, and people just didn't care. Either they didn't care or they felt outright disappointed, depending on the character. So it's like, you could have done what the new Super Mario Brothers movie did, DreamWorks. Sorry. This one case where Illumination actually did better than you. And usually they're more soulless than you, so anyway. Yeah, that's actually a good point, Maple. The new animal characters actually do kind of feel out of place here. They do feel like they belong more in Zootopia. In fact, I think I've thought about Zootopia at one point in the film. I was like, hey, this kind of reminds me of Zootopia for some reason. I don't fully remember, but I might be mistaken. But I kind of did get a bit of a Zootopia vibe from this movie. They couldn't even get my girl Tigress back. No, they couldn't. And speaking of Tigress, I'm gonna get to her later because I felt like she was done so dirty in this film. I need to calm down because my mom's gonna like be like, "What are you? Why are you screaming?" Like that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. That's it's exactly what I wanted to talk about. But we'll get to that later. Because I don't want to like go all over the place with my points. But holy shit, you read my fucking mind. Yes, we're twins. We're twins. But then again, I'm sure a lot of people felt the same way. But it's like, oh my God. You just wasted all these characters' dream works. Why? Just why? It's like why even have them in the film? You could have literally just had Ho, Zen, the Chameleon, Master Shifu, and that could have been all. I just really don't like it when you have so many characters in a work and none of them are, and most of them just go to waste. Which I just don't like that. Like, just if you're gonna have a lot of characters, use them. Use them. Don't waste them. Use them. Otherwise, you're just taking up unnecessary screen time, or they're just taking up space that, or animation assets that could be used for other more important things. Just come on, fam. Get it together. Whoever wrote this, directed this, Mike Mitchell, you suck. You sucked. I'm sorry. You don't suck, period. I can't say that. But you sucked with this film. You sucked with this film. You did. You fucked up. You fucked up. And I'm sure you know that by now because I'm sure you know how everybody feels about this film. Well, I know about Tigress's backstory. That was actually an animated short in one of the Kung Fu Panda film DVDs that covered that. And I think there were actually, yeah, I think there were two. It was one or two shorts that covered her backstory from her being a child to being adopted by Master Shifu to Master Shifu training her, but training her in a way that didn't suit her style, but then, having her. Oh, wait, no, that was the origin story for the Furious fight. Like, no, that was all one. I think that was all one episode, if I can remember. I don't remember. I have to go back and look, but I know it was at least one episode of her backstory. There was at least one. Okay, so I need to calm down. I'm gonna fuck up my voice if I don't calm down. So, okay. Anyway, to be fair, this movie has actually gotten decent ratings on Rotten Tomatoes from both critics and audiences, surprisingly. True. I mean, the movie isn't bad. No, it is bad, but it's not like super bad. It's not very bad. It's just, a little on the bad side. It's just mid. It's it's just very mid. I don't even want to say okay because okay implies that it does some things right. It does almost everything wrong, but it's serviceable. It's somewhat enjoyable. So there's that. Hmm. But okay, moving on. And I'm trying not to like take too long on any one single point, but there are just so many. There's just so much shit to sift through, and we're not even done with Megamind. We haven't even gotten to Megamind 2. That's going to be even worse. But anyway, so the humor is was shit. Okay, well maybe shit is a strong word, but clearly this movie wasn't as funny as the first three. Like like it felt more childish. It felt n humor for the from the first three films felt more sophisticated. It was always silly on the sillier side, but like there was more grace and there was more grace and subtlety to it and more charm. This was just very kiddie, kind of kiddie like humor. Like I was like, I'm not feeling the humor for this film. I mean, there were a few moments that made me laugh, but like most of it was just like, yeah, did y'all forget how to be funny? Which apparently happened to Megamind 2 as well, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, I'm just not with. I'm just not living for the humor. Sorry. Oh, hey, Nine. It's mostly been the hardcore fans who've been complaining about this movie, oddly enough, and we are two of them. All of us. Fuck that. All of us are. It's competently made with some good animation action sequences, along with solid voice work throughout. Yes, the animation's good. The action sequences are good. Solid voice work is good. We'll get to that a bit. I do have to cover the positives as well. I can't just say that there are just negatives when there are positives to be had to talk about. But anyway, this was easily the most unfunny Kung Fu Panda movie. There was a chuckle here or there, but nothing that really made me belly laugh. Exactly. Exactly. Like, it just wasn't really all that funny. Like, I mean, it's just like, yeah, you can tell that this film had that this film had very different management because again, these jokes, for the most part, they were very hit or miss, usually miss. So yeah, sorry, I just wasn't feeling the humor, especially regarding Jen's character. She was meant to be the spunky sidekick. She was going to get it. I'm assuming that. I mean, I wouldn't call her the comic relief character, but clearly she was meant to have some sort of funniness to her character. She wasn't funny either. Most of the characters weren't funny. Sorry. Anyway, no, I'm not sorry at all. But yeah, the humor, not a fan of it. The funniest part was when Brian Cranston was channeling his inner Walter White as Poe's father when he was trying to pretend he was Poe. Yeah, that part was funny. Poe's father trying to, imitate his son. That was funny. And the whole tavern shit with both tavern scenes were funny. But because that tavern was not structurally stable, and I don't know how people are comfortable sitting in it because it was not stable, and then eventually it literally sat on like it was literally teetering on a cliff or whatever. I don't remember what exactly it was on, but at one point it actually does tip over and fall into like what the water below, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm sure everyone saw that happening, but anyway. So, yeah. Sorry, not sorry. It mostly felt like they were putting the jokes first and restoring characters second, which is not what prior Kung Fu Panda movies did. And that's not really what you should do with writing in general. Your story, regardless of whatever embellishments you put in it, your story should always come first. And when it doesn't, you get this. The subplot with Poe's two dads is proof of that. I was actually about to talk about that. What was the point? I mean, I'm not saying that. See, I understand the idea behind it. Both of his dads were worried about him, but they did almost nothing important in the story. There was only one moment where they saved Poe from falling to his death, and that was it. And then they also managed to uh get Jen used to live in this fucking crime-ridden neighborhood, a bunch of the lowest criminals living together, and Jen and Poe's two dads rallied the criminals together to help those three like help Poe take down the chameleon. But it really was just Jen doing most of the work. Those dads were literally just there in the background, so I don't count that. They literally do nothing substantial in the film. So, and that time could have been spent, on the that time could have actually been spent on the relationship between Jen and the chameleon. Like, it would have been nice to have a bit more backstory on that, but guess we can't have it all. Good writing, I mean. Anyway, I guess I should put that down as a plot, a bullet point. There's just so much to uncover here. James Hong is 95 years. What the fuck? He's 95 years old. Damn. I hope I live that. I hope I live to be that long, at least that long. Damn, dude's lived a full life. He's pulling the Betty White. He's pulling the Betty White. Like there are some people that have actually lived up to 120 years, and I'm like, y'all, what's your secret? It's like we don't have one. You could say it's luck, or you could say that we're just fortunate. But anyway, he's a legend. I'm sure he is with that age. Like, damn. And among other things, of course. But it's like, but yeah, it's like to live that long, that's impressive. That's what I mean. Hmm. Not gonna lie, but Jack Black is kind of getting old. I feel you. You're not wrong. But hey, but hey, I mean, let him show off his age. I feel like I'm getting old, and I'm not even. I'm almost 30, and I know I shouldn't feel like I'm getting old, but I kind of do. And Maple, you're like what, almost 27 or 27 already? I don't know. But like yeah, like you and we're definitely. I still remember our days when we were like teenagers, and now it's like how it's been how many years? Oh my God. But anyway, hmm. Shifu's 86. Yeah, it shows in his voice. 86 years old. Makes sense. The guy who Dustin Hoffman, now 86 years old. Damn. The guy who plays Master Shifu. I'm almost 27. Yeah. Sweet. So you're about as old as my sister, actually, because my sister's like 3 years younger than me too. Both of y'all getting real old, right? And then we have people like Blue Wolf, who's like, I think Blue Wolf's like 19 or 18, one of those two. And I'm just like, I'm like 10 years older. But anyway, and Blue Typhoon's like what, 30? He's already 30. He's almost 31. He's a year older than me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to like digress, but time really does fly. It really does. Your younger brother's turning 18 next year. Damn. Let's not make Tia Mabel feel old. Yes, please. It seemed like it hinted that he was getting sick or old, but like he's fine by the end. Oh, wow. Okay, nice. You're about to turn 19 next week. Okay. Just in case I forget, happy early birthday, name. Okay. I'm doing all right. Got no classes today. Today's Friday, so there's only one class today, so I have a free day off. Okay, nice. Confirmation of the semester, which is on April 6th. Okay. Okay, so anything else? Hmm. This is what I mean. There's just also this point that I've been saying, that Maple's been saying, that everyone's been saying, that kind of that it's like almost every point here is kind of an extension of this point, or at least a result of this point, in that the movie is was very by the numbers, by the numbers, was a very by the numbers, predictable as fuck, generic, I don't want to say boring, although some parts were boring. I don't want to say boring entirely. Flat story. And that's basically what it was. Because it contains a number of common tropes which is fine. I don't care if you use common tropes. Tropes are tools after all, and like so many stories use the same tropes. And but the thing is that those stories, many of those stories use those tropes in interesting ways and unique ways. This movie didn't do that. It took all these basic ass, generic ass tropes, um, and but didn't do anything with them. Didn't do anything meaningful with them, I should say. It's a very safe film. And that's not a good thing. In a way, that's not a good thing. Because to be fair, like taking a risk, like trying to do something new or different can backfire. But at the same time, playing something too safe can also backfire, and this is what you get. So it's like the story is very by the numbers. You have the journey from one place to another. Again, common trope, not a bad thing, but again, this movie is very predictable about it. Um, and just very like you could literally predict everything that's going to happen in the film. Jen's going to betray Poe. She's going to redeem herself. She's going to be the successor. I saw that coming a mile away. Everyone saw that coming a mile away. Jen is just a generic character, a generic troublemaking character. Like the chameleon's a flat character. Everything is just generic and flat and by the numbers and predictable. And I know some people are going to say, well, predictable isn't something that's predictable isn't necessarily bad. And I agree with that. The Bad Guys was a very predictable film. You could predict literally everything that was going to happen in it, but it was so enjoyable because it took the ideas it had, predictable as they were, and made them into something unique and funny. This movie could have done something like that but failed. So if a movie is predictable, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's really what you it's not so much the tropes themselves that are bad, it's just what you do with them that makes all the difference. But the tropes in the movie here, these tropes were not used very well. The spunky sidekick trope, the redemption arc trope, the journey to a different place trope. And that brings me to another point that kind of doesn't make any sense, though I could be wrong. It's about Poe's not being known as the Dragon Warrior all around, but we'll get to that later. It's just a very let's just do the minimum required kind of thing. It just gives off Illumination vibes because as Maple said earlier in the chat, and I think I even alluded to this movie feels like it was made by Illumination, not DreamWorks, because DreamWorks normally isn't afraid to take risks. It's not afraid to, you know, push the envelope and try different things. It doesn't always succeed. That's why the quality is inconsistent, but you can tell that they care. You can tell they're not afraid to, do something different. But in this movie, you don't get that. They just didn't want to do anything different. Although you have executive meddling to worry about, but it's like I don't know. It's just like I don't think you can completely pin this on executive meddling, but it is a big reason as to why the movie turned out the way it did. Because see, the things that even with executive meddling, you can still have a movie that's well directed, but it's not in this case because Mike Mitchell fucked it up. Oh, wait, actually, now that comment you made earlier makes more sense, Maple. About where you said it seemed like it hinted that he was getting sick or old, but like he's fine by the end. You were talking about Master Chief. I thought you were talking about something else for some reason. But like, yeah, like because it's like, yeah, the thing is like Shifu, it was implied that he was sick in the movie, but like, which would have made sense for him to like push Poe into fighting a new Dragon Warrior. But no, Shifu is fine by the end of the movie. So it's like, okay, so where did all the tension go? Like that just literally eliminated any sort of tension this movie could have had. Because that leads me to my next point. So Poe's becoming a new dragon, like like the plot point about Poe. finding a new successor, a new Dragon Warrior, that was forced. It didn't really make much sense. Because for one thing, Poe had just become the Dragon Warrior. He hadn't been the Dragon Warrior for that long, maybe like a few years at most. But for some reason, he had to become the new one. And it's never really explained why. It's never really explained like what was the rush? Like maybe Master Shifu again had actually gotten sick, and that would have made sense for Poe to find a new successor quickly. But no, that doesn't happen. That didn't happen. Like he just it just doesn't make any sense. Like Master Chief was fine at the end, so it's like okay, so I guess all the dramatic tension to find the successor quickly is gone. Not to mention that, not to mention that he never really explains very well why Poe needs to find a new successor. So unsurprisingly, Poe's like, we don't need a successor. I can still be the Dragon Warrior. So, but writing. So the thing is that like the one part of the plot that the one part of the plot that that literally set everything into motion made absolutely no sense and was just literally forced. And it's like and that brings me to another point actually, one that Maple referred to earlier. But yeah, like this is literally the reason as to why the movie's kicked off in the first place. Not actually not the only reason, sorry. I should say that this wasn't the only reason because again, you had the chameleon to worry about. But it was a big reason and it's like one of the two big reasons, the other being the chameleon, and now it's just like, okay, well, why was Poe so pressured into finding a new Dragon Warrior? Especially when the bigger problem at hand was actually taking down the chameleon. It's like you have two different subplots going on here, but neither of them makes all that much sense. And you leave you end up with something like this. I don't know. So, oh my God, I'm recording, right? Please tell me I'm recording. Okay, thank God I'm recording. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time in the series where the term Kung Fu Panda is actually said by one of the characters. Yes, I agree. I think that did happen in the film. Honestly, I don't even remember, but I do remember hearing something like that. But yeah, anyway, the movie should have been delayed and not felt so rushed. Yeah, that's the thing. The movie was rushed. Let me add that. And rushed. Oops, rushed. It was rushed. It was a very by the numbers, predictable, generic, flat, and rushed story. You could tell it was rushed because clearly there were going to be. I feel like the movie was going to have a lot more to it instead of just being just the fourth film in the series. But executive meddling, shit direction, along with just forgetting about what the series was about, amongst other things. Like whoever directed this, fam, do better. You fucked up. But let me go to my next point. Damn, how long have we been on this? Oh my God, there are so many negatives. I was not expecting to rant about this for like 90 minutes. Oh my God. Oh, I'm exhausted already. I'm so exhausted. Mm. I'm gonna be honest, and I know some people might disagree with me on this. I don't care. Zen, like Zen, okay, I'm just gonna say it like this. Tigress, my girl Tigress, should have been the next successor, and I have reasons for this. I have reasons for this. You can still disagree, but I have reasons for this, for believing this. She should have been the next successor. Because here's the thing. She was technically, in a sense, we have, okay, where do I start? There are multiple reasons. First of all, she had been training longer than anybody else in that fucking dojo, in that fucking group. Longer than anybody else. She was the first one to have been receiving instruction under Master Shifu. Actually, no, it was technically Tai Lung. But, he had a falling out with Master Shifu, so he doesn't count. Anyway, um, so Tigress was literally the first. If you exclude Tai Lung, Tigress was the first. And then and then everyone else started coming in. I forgot what the order was, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Um, so like, and she was clearly, she's technically the strongest and most powerful of all of them, even stronger than Poe. Like, she technically is stronger than Poe, but like, it's just stronger and more skilled. But like, she she had like the most experience out of everyone, and she'd been there the longest, and there was a third option, a third point. What was it? What was it? And honest, like, I think those were the only two. I felt like there was a third option. Because honestly, it just doesn't make sense to make Jen the successor when she literally just came out of nowhere and betrayed Poe, but redeemed herself. And I'm like, okay, you can have that kind of plot, but like, what exactly makes her fitting to be the successor to being the Dragon Warrior? What makes her the next Dragon Warrior? I just don't know. Yeah, the chameleon could have been the Dragon Warrior as well as Tai Lung. Apparently, the Tai Lung was supposed to have some sort of redemption arc. Maple talked about this earlier, but that was scrapped in this movie. So really, either Tigress, Tai Lung, or the chameleon all could have been valuable candidates for the Dragon Warrior. I would have been fine with any of them, but not Jen. She didn't deserve that. And I'm sorry, it just didn't feel earned because she barely did anything positive in the film. I mean, she did do a few good things, but like she she should have been built up more to earn that role. She should have done more to earn that because she literally just showed up out of nowhere and then got the role. And clearly, we all knew who was going to have the role from the start because the movie was not going to be subtle about it. This movie does not know subtlety. It has no subtlety at all. It's like just I just like and I'm sure Master Shifu probably would have been fine with Tigress being the next successor because he knew how good she was. He knew that if he had to choose if she had to choose between any of the Furious Five, it would be Tigress. She clearly was the most qualified in a number of ways. And honestly, she was just the most disciplined and the most austere out of everyone. I mean, what I said was just redundant. She was the most disciplined out of everyone in the group, the most skilled, the most experienced. She'd been there the longest. I just, why didn't you just make her the war? And it would have made the Furious Five's like return in the movie felt more meaningful. But then again, it'd be like, okay, well, if they're gonna have Tigress show up and be the Dragon Warrior, then it's like, why have Jen there? But that's the thing, Jen really kind of didn't. It really feels like Jen shouldn't have been in the movie. Period. I really feel like she just should not have been in the movie because clearly the writers did not know what to do with her character. Like, I mean, they had an interesting idea, but the execution was just absolutely awful. If not Tigress, it could have been Tyler the Chameleon as a Dragon Warrior, which I could see either of those happening. And I would have been fine with that. I don't care who the Dragon Warrior is, it just has to be earned. But but it's like you've had the whole passing on the torch kind of trope thing. Fine, whatever. I don't care if you do it, but this is perhaps the laziest way to go about doing it. The laziest and the most the laziest and shittiest way to go about doing it. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Like Maple made a good point here. I mean, like And with regards to like my point about passing the torch trope, which is fine to have in the story, movies like Cars 3 in that way, and Spider-Man No Way Home in that way, but kind of shit. Sorry. And regarding No Way Home, you have all these extra characters that show up, but they were actually used pretty well. Whereas you have all these extra characters in Kung Fu Panda 4, they're just there. Except Tai Lung, who's also just there. So, oops. Is that all? I think that's all the negatives. I think I've covered just about everything because I walked into the movie with low expectations. I came out with, I wasn't disappointed or anything. I was just frustrated, annoyed, irritated. I was shaking my head. I was just like, fam, fuck this movie. It's not bad. Well, not really bad. It's bad, but not like super bad. But it's not good either. It's just mid. I will call it mid, and I'm being generous with that. It's mid. But I think those are all the negatives. There are positives, of course. I'll get to those in a moment, but I think those are all the negatives. Hang on one moment. Let me take some cold medicine. I should have done that before doing this, but whatever. No, actually, I did do that. No, I did take cold medicine before starting the stream. My bad. I did. I did do that. But my voice is still kind of fucked up, and my chest is still kind of congested, so yeah. It's mediocre. Mediocre. I love that. I love that because it's true and it's clever. Maple, rewrite the story, please. Do us all a favor and rewrite the story. I feel like I feel like you understand. A lot of fans understand. I understand. A lot of fans understand. But honestly, if I could, I would make you the writer. I feel like you would know exactly how to make the chameleon an interesting character. Like, I feel like you would have done a far better job than any of the writers here. So, so yeah, like, really, like, I just, I don't know what the hell they were. Oh, I skipped the slide. My bad. Okay, there we go. Positives. Okay, so the animation was. I was slightly disappointed they didn't bother taking it to the next level like in Puss in Boots 2, but the movie was still nice to look at. Yeah, the animation was good. It wasn't the greatest, I'm not gonna lie, but not the greatest. Like it was good, but like the first three movies had more impressive animation. And the thing is that you remember those 2D animation fight scenes in the previous three films? I'm not sure if actually I'm not even sure if Kung Fu Panda 3 had it, but 1 and 2 did at the very least. Well, that's not present here. Those 2D animation fight scenes, 2D animated fight scenes, those aren't present here. They weren't present here, and I wasn't living for that. I would have liked that. Because that was just such that was such a cool little thing, but no. They took those out. So like I would yeah, I would have loved for the animation to have been taken to higher levels, but what we got was good. I'm not complaining about it. It looks nice. It's not the greatest, but it looks nice. The fight scenes, um, the fight scenes were good. They were good. Not the greatest. Again, I mean, the first three films had more impressive fight scenes, if I'm going to be honest. But the fight scene, in fact, I think this movie had the fewest fight scenes out of all the films. But I think even less than Kung Fu Panda 3. I don't even remember. I could be wrong. But at least it had less than 1 and 2. There was a nice 2D sequence when Poe was explaining where the Furious Five were. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Probably because I almost fell asleep at that point. So, I'm sorry. I know that sounds shady, but it's true. I think like at that point, I feel like my mind was kind of somewhere else at that point. I remember being distracted at one point in the film. So, and I think that was where I was distracted. So I remember it now, but I kind of forgot about it. So I'm sorry. Like, because the film was just that basic to me. I got distracted. So, oops. Anyway, the fight scenes were good. They were good, but again, not the greatest. Because not something that wowed me. Like the fight scenes of the first three films wowed me, all of them. Even the third film had great fight scenes, but you have these, and it's like they're good, but they're not. They don't wow me. Yeah, the ones where Poe and Jen were fighting alongside each other were nice, and the one at the beginning where Poe met Jen for the first time and fought her, that was nice too. It was a good back and forth thing going on, but again, not the most impressive fight scenes. The voice-over work, voice acting was good. I mean, they couldn't get most of the actors back, but the voice acting, what we got was good for the most part. If you ignore Aquafina, the voice acting was good for the most part. Um, anything else? Yeah, I can't really name a single bad performance. I mean, Aquafina wasn't bad in this film, but she just has the same performance where she just sounds like herself and doesn't actually try to get into the character. She doesn't feel like the character. She cannot be the character, and that's important in acting. She's a comedian, not so much an actress. I'm just gonna be real. I mean, she can improve on that. I'm not saying that she can't learn to act. It's just like I don't think she's a completely bad actress. She's just not the greatest. But she didn't have a bad performance here. It was okay, but it could have been better. Anyway, everyone else was fine. Everyone else was good from what we got. From what we got, yeah. Wait, what character did that guy play? Because I legit forgot. I would love to write the plot for this film, but I would make sure not to have an ego filled mindset. Like I know better than everyone else, but it will still be me telling the story I want to tell. I know a certain person who has that kind of mindset and needs to learn how to take criticism. Vipsy Pop. Sorry, not sorry, but it's true. Anyway, he was a kid actor in the '80s in movies The Goonies and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Oh, he played Han. Oh, okay. Now he's making a comeback in movies as an adult many years later. Okay. Don't you just love it when legends come back from I don't want to say the dead, just they come back from or even hiding. It's just like they just come back. They return. They make a return. I mean, some people do come from hiding, but but it's more often than not they just come back into the scene. Because why not? Sometimes you just need to take a break, but sometimes you come back and it's like it feels good to come back. But anyway, yeah, the voice act. Oops, I didn't even finish this plot point. Bullet point. The voice acting was solid overall. Any other positives? I want to say that the movie had an interesting idea, but I could literally say that for so many movies. Like you could have an interesting idea, but if it's executed poorly, I don't think you get brownie points for that. Sorry. I'll acknowledge that you had a good idea, but I won't give you praise for just having a good idea. I'll give you praise for like trying something new, but it's like to me it's like effort doesn't really make quality. So I judge based on what you've actually done. try to keep intent in mind when I judge. But at the end of the day, you put this out, regardless of your intentions, it's shit. I'm sorry, I'm just being real. Like it's shit. But I mean, you tried though. I mean, I can commend you for trying new things, but that's not what happened here. So I can't even commend the movie for that, which is something that DreamWorks again is not shy to do. Like they, I commend them for trying new things, which is why their movies are inconsistent in quality. But they make several bangers, and it's like all fucked up here. And I can't. It's like I want to commend you for trying new things like you usually do, but I can't even do that here. So, oops, sorry. Anyway, everything, everywhere, all at once. You want me to watch that? I guess I could check it out. Let's see. That guy was also in the second season of Loki as well. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I don't really watch Marvel shit. The sides, the movies, shows, whatever. I don't care for that stuff. Because for one thing, there's just a lot of it, and it's just going to be hard to keep track of everything. The MCU is just too big. And another thing is that I don't find any of them interesting. Because again, if you're not Spider-Man or Batman, I don't really care. That's not that's just me. That's just me. Hmm. Sorry, but that's just me. I just don't care about DC or Marvel in general. I used to care more, but now I just kind of don't. If you're not Spider-Man or Batman, I'm just really not going to pay attention to you. So, especially if you're Spider-Man, if you're not Spider-Man. But anyway, even that other actors from the Kung Fu Panda series, such as James Hong, Poe's adoptive father, and Michelle Yeoh, soothsayer in Kung Fu Panda 2. Ooh, okay, fair enough, right? I mean, that's just me. I'm sorry. I just superheroes just aren't my thing anymore. They used to be my thing, sort of, but now it's just not. Maybe I don't know. They're just not. I know some people are still into superheroes. I'm just not one of them. Okay, I think those are all the pauses. I can't think of any other pauses. Animation, fight scenes, voice acting, overall solid. But that's all I got. That's all I've got. Unless you guys can think of more pauses, then by all means put them in the chat, and I will see if I agree with them or not. Though I probably will, because almost everyone, you know, feels like the movie is mid. Despicable Me 4. Oh yeah, I saw the trailer for that. I don't care about that movie. I tend not to care about movies after the third movie or so. Toy Story 4 was just an exception. Because to me, like, you don't need more than three movies, but sometimes a quadrilogy can work. Or even a quintilogy? Is that the word for it? 5-part series, what the fuck ever. But, see, Ice Age could have had something like that. But, they fucked up after the third movie. And it's just like, actually, even the third movie had signs of fucking up, but if they're fucking up. The studio. What was it? What were their names? I forgot. So, yeah. Okay, but yeah, we've spent long enough on this movie. We really need to move on to Megamind 2. I should probably take a break though. I feel like we should all take a break. But if there are no positives, then I will. I really do think we need to take a break because I do need to rest my voice a bit, and I know you all probably want to go and do something really fast. That one shot Poe and the Chameleon as posed side by side was a cool visual. I agree. I actually liked that visual with Poe and the fake Poe side by side. That was nice. In fact, Evil Poe's design was actually pretty cool. But that's all I gotta say about the positives. Let's take a break. Okay, I guess I'll say like, please tell me I unpaused that I did. Okay, good. I'll say like maybe 20 minutes. Let's say 20 minutes. And then we'll come back. I should make an intermission slide. See, I would have done this tomorrow where my voice would have been like better suited, better rested. I really wanted to wait until tomorrow, but like I have an online class I need to do tomorrow, so after work, I work from 7 to 3, so I really couldn't do tomorrow. I had to do it today, unfortunately. I know how Jason Griffith feels. You know, remember when he was like once his lines to the werehog and he had a sore throat and he had to like drink water constantly. Feel his pain now. I really do feel his pain. It's like, 'cause I know how you feel like having to talk when, when you really like, when you really want to do this later, but you can't, so you have to, power through it. I feel that. I feel that energy. I do. But anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and take a break. I'll say about 20 minutes. So like, I'll come back at like 9, but let me make an intermission slide. Let me change the layout as well. Intermission bitches. And I'll make sure to pause the recording because I don't want there to be like, just like 20 minutes of dead silence or whatever. Okay. Anyway, we'll be back soon. So check back at like 9 o'clock or 20 minutes later because I know everyone has different time zones, but for me, it's like almost 9 p.m. 10 at your area? Okay. Well, in your area, but whatever. Um, but yeah, like, yeah, so check back in like 20 minutes. So I'll just go ahead and mute my mic and pause the recording. See you guys in a bit. Okay, I guess there's a Connect version of Fruit Ninja. I literally forgot. But anyway, I'm back. Hi everyone. So, oh yeah, Maple did Kung Fu Panda full review on this blog. He gave it a 2 out of 4 stars. I'm gonna save my rating for later, but that's a fair rating to me. Anyway, yeah, there just wasn't enough skadoosh. Skadoosh, skadoosh, skadooshinator. Oh, himself. Not enough skadoosh. Like 0 out of 10, not enough skadoosh. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, if you're gonna make a fifth Kung Fu Panda movie, step up your game, DreamWorks. You can't sell for mediocrity. I thought you were better than that. Hmm. And yeah, get Jennifer, yeah, Nelson back in some way and give Stephanie Stein actual creative freedom next time around. Because she probably would have made the film what she definitely would have made the film what people wanted out of it. But that didn't happen because they ignored her and called her a nobody. Well, look who's the nobody now. Oops. Who are the nobodies, I should say. Anyway, yeah, just don't bother with any more Kung Fu Panda movies if you're not going to get those two women on board the next time you have a big project in the Kung Fu Panda series. If you want to, and please don't bring back Mike Mitchell for the next one or Shrek 5 if that's actually a thing happening. Yeah, don't bring him back. He clearly just he should just stay away from this series. According to Maple, he apparently directed Sky High, which I actually did like Sky High. I remember watching it so many years ago on Disney Channel. It was a good film. Hmm. It was about the whole superhero sidekick kind of thing. Like you can be either a superhero, you could be a sidekick, but the movie showed that there was more to just being a hero and being a sidekick for that matter. Like you can be either and be badass. And there are other themes, but like that was basically the main theme where it's just like you don't have to let what people say you are define who you are. And and unsurprisingly, My Hero Academia follows a similar premise, but with the whole people with superpowers and people without superpowers. A whole quirks, people with quirks and people with no quirks. But that's a different thing. But the similarities are there, and I'm sure plenty of people have noticed them. It's just something I felt like I had to point out. Anyway, which is fine. Similarities are fine. I don't give a shit. Like really, everything in the story's been done. Everything in like pretty much every story nowadays been has been done before. So who the fuck cares? It's what you do with those ideas that makes your story unique. Anyway, oh, Mitchell also directed Shrek Forever After and the first Trolls for DreamWorks. Oh, okay. Oh, but yeah, I gotta get back to. Oh yeah, but anyway, Kung Fu Panda 4, very mid, basic ass film. If you like it, great. If you don't, well, you're like most of us. Anyway, Megamind 2, positives. Well, there aren't any. There aren't any. I can't think of any. There are none for this movie. I mean, well, there is. I mean, they did have like two nice themes, but like those themes were just buried under so much crap. Actually, you know what? Here, actually, you know what? That's not right to say. Let me just start off by saying that Megamind 2 actually isn't that bad of a film. I'm serious, it's actually not that bad of a film. It's perhaps the worst film I've ever seen in a while. Like, Jesus Christ. It's awful. It just does everything wrong. Remember how I said that? you don't you sometimes get these movies where it's like you have a sequel and it feels like the writers, if you can call them that, ignored everything that the first movie or the first few movies established. Well, that's basically what happened here. Because you have retcons that don't make any sense, along with some of the most flan- along with character flanderization here, and it's just like it gives me Ice Age the Adventures of Buck Wild vibes. It gives me that kind of vibe. That's how lame the humor was. The only difference is that the animation in Megamind 2 is actually better than the animation The Adventures of Buck Wild. But like the kind of humor and dialogue between those two movies, they were basically the same in that they were utter shit. You can count the number of times on one hand that I laughed, which was probably like 3 times. And I'm being generous with that figure. Oh well, you scared me for a second there. I'm sorry. I had to play you guys. I had to play you guys. I was like, no, Mega Man 2 isn't that bad. No, it's the worst. It's the absolute worst. This might be the worst. See, I wouldn't even say this is like the worst. It's not even just the worst DreamWorks sequel released this month, and possibly the worst sequel out of like any DreamWorks film. It's probably like the worst DreamWorks film in existence. Perhaps the worst sequel in existence. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's possible. It's definitely one of the worst. I'm not sure if it's the worst because there are so many bad ones out there, but it's definitely one of the worst sequels ever made. And it did give me somewhat nostalgia for those crappy straight to DVD Disney sequels. That's basically what this was. It was basically a straight to, well, not even straight to DVD, straight to streaming kind of thing. But the thing is that like it managed to be even of lower quality than like typical straight to DVD sequels. It was that bad. To the point where it was actually of lower quality than those crappy sequels back then. Those straight to DVD sequels. The ones that were crappy, that range from crappy to mid. Like Mulan 2. Like, it's just that bad. Megamind 2 is just that bad. It's even worse than those kinds of movies. Literally, yeah, that's the thing. Literally everyone hates this movie. I can't name a single person who likes it. I'm sure there are people out there, but they're very, very rare. Like, everyone hates this movie. Like, even the Rotten Tomato scores are just like, okay, see you in a bit, kind gamer Patrick. Have a nice shower. You're probably gonna need it after. Well, you haven't even watched Megamind 2, so you're probably gonna need it after watching Kung Fu Panda 4 because it was just that lame. But yeah, people legit just don't like this movie, and it's not hard to see why because it does so many things wrong. It was worth mentioning that this was not made by the film studio of DreamWorks themselves, but their TV division that did this movie. I actually suspected that. I felt like this actually wasn't made by DreamWorks. I felt like it wasn't because it didn't feel like it was made by DreamWorks. I was like, I didn't think DreamWorks made this because I could tell like you don't go from Megamind to whatever this is, Megamind 2, because that's just a huge jump in quality, and not just in terms of writing, but in terms of animation. Oh, actually, the writers were the same this time around. I don't know why the fuck that is, how the fuck that is, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, in terms of just the animation, like, how do you go from Megamind's good animation to this? Hmm. Like, but then it's like, oh well, DreamWorks didn't make it, so I was like, okay, that explains it because like the movie looks just absolutely awful. let's just go right into the divisives. I said divisives. Let's go right into the negatives because I can't think of any positives. So the negatives. Okay, the animation. Let's just talk about the animation. The animation is trash. It looks it's trash. It was trash. Like even worse than no, actually no. I'd say it's a little bit better than Open Season Two's animation. Or maybe they tie. I don't know. They're both bad. They're just both very bad. I feel like it's slightly better than Open Season Two's animation, which was also pretty bad. And that was a direct to DVD sequel to the first Open Season movie, of course. So it feels like the animation was just so awful. Like the models, like it just they didn't move fluidly. They looked low quality, low resolution. Like it just the animation was just it's just so it felt like a high school student's project. And I'm being no, I'm sorry, I'm being generous with that. Like I mean, well, I don't like. I guess a high school student could have made something like this and it would have been considered good for high school students. But like for a professional department, like it just looks bad. Like if a high schooler had made this, like that would have been fine, or even a college student, because animation isn't easy. But like when you're a professional studio and you come out with something like this, like what the fuck happened? Yeah, it looks unfinished. It looks unfinished, unpolished. Like the models don't look good. Like they look like something out of Blender or Gary's mod. And it's like I'm sorry if that sounds harsh, but it's true. And but like just they were just touched up a bit. Yeah, like the animation just looks so bad. It looks unfinished, unnatural, unpolished. Like you can tell there were times where there should have been more frames. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of animated errors. I'm sure there are. I'm gonna look through that video later, but oh my God, the animation just looks absolutely awful, even for direct to streaming or direct to DVD sequel standards. So even if the movie even fails at that, it even fails to those standards, because Ralph Breaks the Internet was a direct to DVD sequel of Wreck It Ralph, but yet, it was actually the animation still looked quite good. Although to be fair, it was from Disney, but my point still stands. Sort at least sort of. So it's like with like it's just like I know DreamWorks like they're technically their film studio didn't make this, but it's just like y'all are professionals. You're supposed to be professionals, and yet you came out with this. Hmm, Jesus Christ! Like it was just the movie was just very hard to look at. It just looked so bad. It makes it worse during that. Excuse me. It makes it worse during that opening scene where they were playing clips from the very first movie that came out 14 years ago, and it looked a hell of a lot better than this movie did. I know those scenes actually look better than this movie did. Like I remember seeing those scenes in the movie, and they were like, "How do you guys go from that to this? Like how? What happened?" It was like, "Oh, their TV studio made it, but it was a shitty TV studio," and I can see that because it's like because I've seen crap like this from other TV studios where they're supposed to do better, but they don't. In fact, the like it kind of Megamind 2, the animation style, the quality, it reminds me of Penguins of Madagascar. That the animation quality of the Penguins of Madagascar, except the Penguins of Madagascar looked better. Granted, not like almost not like as good as a movie, of course, but still it looked better than whatever Megamind 2 was. I'm just like, just no. This I can't say anything good about the animation. It just looks really bad. It looks bad. Like just unfinished, unnatural movements, unfinished, terrible looking models. Like just they all looked like they all look like they came from a library. I just like or something ripped out of Blender Gary's mod. Oh, just I can't with the animation. It was just very painful to look at. I knew it was going to look bad from what I've seen. I saw a bit of footage later, but I when I watching the whole movie, I was like, I can't with this. Oh, hi, DBZ. What's up? It's been a while. I'm glad you're here to. It's still playing through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I want to go back to that because I played it. I guess I do need a PS4 for this game actually, because I don't think it's on. Is that on Xbox One or Xbox Series? If it is, I'm gonna get it. But if it's not, then fuck. Because I do want because my brother says my brother actually wants to take his PS4 back. Well, he asked me and I said he could, even though it was his. Like, because I used to play it more than he did. But like now I just don't play it very much. So I was like, yeah, you can just have it back. Because he wanted to play video games again. But anyway, I digress. Like, okay, so I do want to play through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because I only did like a test stream of it once, which I forgot about. I thought it was a different game, but anyway, yeah. Or is it? Or maybe it is a different game. Fuck, I don't remember. Anyway, but I think I did. So, so let's talk about the story. The animation is shit. But let's talk about the story because, like, see, here's the thing: like, even if a movie is animated poorly, it can still have a good story, and as long as the story is good, then at least that's something, right? But no, it fucked that up too. Like this again, I said this movie doesn't do anything right. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do a single thing right, which leads us right to what the story. The story was asinine. It was just stupid. Not the good kind of stupid, not the silly kind, not the good kind of silly, not the good kind of crazy or whatever. It was just flat out stupid. And for a number of reasons. The first reason was that Maple already said in the chat, but I'll say it anyway. The Doom Syndicate. Who the fuck are they? Because as far as I recall, they were never a thing in the first film. They weren't even alluded to. There was nothing hinting at their presence. Like, and they honestly, it really doesn't make much sense for them to have existed back then because it was really just about Megamind and Metro Man fighting each other constantly. Where were the Zoom Syndicate in any of that? Nowhere. So why are they here? This is such an amateurish writing mistake. I just again, these people should know better at this point. Like where it's like you retcon, but you do it, and retcons are not necessarily bad, but you have to do them in a way that actually doesn't disrupt the lore. Because if you don't do them properly, you will fuck up the lore, and this is exactly what happened. They fucked up the lore because, like, when did Megamind ever actually work with anyone other than himself? Like, and Minion, technically, like, it just made no fucking sense. So let me just put that down. Yeah, no joke. The Deadly Six in Sonic Lost World were actually better villains than the Doom Syndicate here. I am not lying. I agree with that. And the Deadly Six were generic and irrelevant. But yeah, this movie had the same writers as the first movie. Like, how? And this ties into my whole point earlier. Let me write this point, bullet point down. But yeah, this ties into my point earlier where I said when you watch Megamind 2, you feel like whoever wrote it either didn't watch the first film or didn't care about what was going on in the first film, what happened in the first film, or what was established, or any of that. Because a number of contradictions happen in this film. For one thing, again, you have the Doom Syndicate. They were not mentioned at all, or even hinted at or referenced in the first film. Hmm. So I have no idea why the fuck they're there. And another thing is that at one point, Megamind points out, explains to Roxanne that he went to like what villain school at one point, and he had an evil professor that he had a falling out with, who shows up at I think he shows up at the end of this film as Mister or what Machiavellian, Doctor Machiavellian, Mister Machiavellian, or just Machiavellian. I don't remember, but he's just some floating brain thing. It's stupid, but we'll get to that later. But like, I'm assuming that was his former professor. I guess I'd have to watch the show to be sure, but I don't want to watch the show. Yes, this movie was actually a pilot for a show called Megamind Rules, which I have not watched, nor do I care to watch because I know it's going to be crap. If what I've heard it is crap, so I'm going to trust everyone's opinions and just stay away from it. But yeah, like going back to what I said, Megamind, like, he didn't go to villain school at all in the beginning. That was stupid. He went to a regular school, but he was bullied. Whereas Metro Man, who was basically his rival at that point, well, not at that point, but clearly he didn't like Metro Man. Like, that guy was pretty well liked and popular. And Megamind hated that. And that was part of his reason as to why, not just his feud with Metro Man, but just him wanting respect from people. So that was what fueled him. If I'm remembering correctly, that was what made him a villain. He didn't go to any villain school or shit like that. The fuck? In fact, he was raised in a prison, if I recall correctly. So so already like you already have another red flag here, where it's like y'all did y'all watch the first film? So it's like Megamind's backstory has holes in it. It had holes in it. More holes than Swiss cheese. Okay, and the Doom Syndicate. Let's talk about the Doom Syndicate. They are some of the lamest villains ever. They feel like I'm not gonna lie. They feel like the Fantastic Four, but shit. Actually, no. Kind of like the X-Men. They feel like they feel like some sort of unflattering imitation of the Fantastic Four or the X-Men, but just shit. They felt like shit because they were generic, unfunny, uninteresting, unlikable, un just boring. Like, oh my god, it's like they were just so lame. Like, granted, they were basically a big contradiction to the plot of the first film, but it's like, okay, if you want to roll with that, fine, whatever. I mean, like, if you're gonna contradict the fucking lore, at least do it in an entertaining way. But they couldn't even do that because the Doom Syndicate, they're just so lame, unfunny, uninteresting, and their dialogue was shit. I mean, the whole movie's dialogue was shit, but we'll get to that later. But like, they were just so, and they were generic too. Like, Like it's like they're just so like you got discount Storm, discount the Thing, fucking I guess maybe discount Nightcrawler in a way, or maybe there's a better villain to compare, a better villain or hero to compare him to. Sorry, hero I should say, because Nightcrawler's a hero, not a villain, but whatever, you get what I mean. I don't know, like I mean, I guess the Mime character was probably the only one that the Mime character probably had the most interesting design. If I'm going to be honest, he didn't feel as generic as the other ones because he could literally hypnotize people into thinking that like they were trapped in boxes or any basically they could do any. She could hypnotize people into thinking that they could that they were like we could do anything with them basically. So yeah, like I mean, the mime character actually had it was actually kind of interesting. He was the least generic out of all of them, but even so, he was still pretty lame. So that sucks. Okay, so yeah, the Doom Syndicate sucked. They all felt like just generic stock villains. But that made them more interesting. This movie felt like three episodes of an animated plot strung together. That's probably why I had a hard time watching the whole thing in one sitting and just didn't feel very cohesive. Kind of like The Secret Life of Pets 2. It felt like that. It felt exactly like that. It just did. Yeah, that's the thing. All the Doom Syndicate were just really annoying, and it's like, okay, Megamind, can you get rid of them already? They're just so annoying. So yeah, they were lame and annoying. Oh, hey, Thomas. Okay, so, okay. And another thing that Maple pointed out here, which I fully agree with, the whole point, there was this whole subplot of Megamind and Minion splitting up because Megamind didn't appreciate Minion and treated him like shit in this movie, which is dumb because there was a similar subplot in the first movie that had like did you watch the first film? It just like Megamind and Minion had a falling out in the first film, and Megamind already knew not to take his partner for granted. He learned from that in the first film. Why is he repeating that lesson here? I just this gives me Ralph Breaks the Internet level vibes because again, it's like, did you watch the first film? But here it's even worse because at least Ralph Breaks the Internet was kind of it did some things right. This film didn't do anything right. Hmm. Like, why are you playing Megamind through this again? Like, I literally, they literally just undid Megamind's character development from the first movie. And even in the first movie, he didn't treat Minion that badly. Like here, he treats Minion like utter crap. But in the movie, in the original movie, he actually treated Minion like a friend. Granted, he didn't always treat Minion well, but like he still treated him overall better than here. Like he actually treated Minion like a friend and a partner, but here it's like he just treats him like some sort of lackey. And it's just like, why did you guys undo his character development? Well, I know why. Like, this is a problem I've seen in writing far too often. I'm really fucking tired of it because it plagues literally everything. It plagues movies, it plagues video games, it plagues TV shows where they make characters undo their development and then have them go through that development again. For no reason other than because we don't know what else to write. We need another story. Why the fuck not? The Jumanji films, right? Not the old one, but like the two new ones. The second film was literally a rehash of the first. because for whatever reason they needed to have one of the characters go back into the video game for really no good reason, just so that they could go through all that. The characters go through all that shit again. But like the thing is that it was like there were some different characters this time around. So it's like that's just lazy storytelling, where you make your characters go through something, where you make your characters literally go through a lesson that they should have realized soon that they already went through, just because you need another story to tell. I mean, I guess that kind of I can kind of understand that for like let's say a long running animated series, because it's going to be hard to like keep track of all that shit. But like, but for a fucking sequel to a movie, there's no excuse for that. There isn't. I'm sorry, but there isn't. I hate when movies do that, where you just repeat the same shit. Sing 2 even did this to an extent, and I'm just like, I really am getting tired of this trend in movies. Do come up with something else. If you're gonna do something different, do it with different characters. If you're not gonna do something different, then don't bother. Because we don't need more of the same movie, but worse. I'm just tired of seeing that shit. I really am tired of seeing that shit. I see it everywhere nowadays. Oh, the little girl. We'll talk about her. Don't worry. I have quite a bit to say about her. But, but like, yeah, literally, this movie undid Megamind's character development. Because honestly, Megamind's an asshole in this film. He is. He is. He's an asshole, especially to Minion, but he's an asshole. Like, like, I mean, not all of his development was undone, but a lot of it was. And he just doesn't feel like the same Megamind from the first movie. And not to mention that he's a fucking idiot in this film. In the first film, he was intelligent but clumsy and bumbling, so like not completely stupid. But in this film, he's so damn stupid that he can't even plug in a goddamn toaster to prepare his toast. Like I just did you watch the first film? Like I have to keep hammering that point in. That's what this feels like. It's like it's like what the fuck? Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Dreamworks. I just and god damn, like Jesus Anime Christ. And yeah, that's the thing. The whole time frame of this movie, the timing of it, it doesn't make any sense because this literally takes place few days, I think 2 days, I don't remember. Few days after the original movie. It takes place a few days after the original movie. 2 days after the original. Yeah, that's right. 2 days. 2 days after the original. So, um, like it's just like this. It feels like this was just everything in the movie happened way too soon. So it's been only 2 days. Like let's say a month would have made more sense with the time frame, but like 2 days, 2 days. I saved the city 2 days ago, and it's like, and now we're already going into another plot. Like Megamind's been only been the defender for like only what 2 days or so, and that's it. Yeah, it claims to take place 2 days, but it feels more like 2 decades. Yeah, or at least a few years. So it's like at most a few years, I should say. Like, because it's just like what the fuck. 2 hours later, that's basically that's basically the feeling I got from this movie. 2 hours later. Oh, hi, kind gamer Patrick. Let me drink some water. Okay, yeah. So the little girl. Oh wait, let me just put that. Here, let me just there. I feel like I need to hammer that point in because the story was just utterly asinine. So here's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. If you social media was really not that popular back in 2010 as it is now, and since this movie took place, Megamind was released in like what 2000 was it 2010? So assuming the movie takes place within that same year, how is it that social media is already a big thing in Megamind 2? Like how? The girl's name was Kiko. Keiko. No, sorry, Keiko. 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 So yeah, Keiko. Who's basically the Jen in this movie, where it's like you don't care about her. I didn't care about her. I don't think anyone cared about her. She was just there. I mean, she does do some useful things, but it's like she doesn't really need to be there. So yeah, let me just type her name in the chat. The little the little girl's name was Keiko. Not that anyone cares. Man, I hate the status quo as God trope so much. I hate it too. But you see, here's the thing. That trope can actually be used pretty well. Like, like in Wreck-It Ralph, that was a trope in there, and it was used well. Like Ralph didn't change the situation, but he changed how he viewed it because he didn't really need to change anything. He just needed to change the way he just needed to change his perspective because he already had everything he needed. So it's okay to have a movie where it's like, you know what? Sometimes things are just supposed to be a certain way. But this movie did not do a good job of that. It just did not. And I'm just so I'm, I'm so this movie has so many amateurish writing mistakes. I'm like, these are supposed to be professionals here. Professionals. I just so let's go ahead and talk about the girl. So Keiko, the little girl, was a pointless addition to the cast of characters. She was really only there to like, save Megamind's well, everyone's butt a few times and look cool and shit. But she really did not need to be there. I mean, although to be fair, I don't really dislike the idea of her character. She kind of reminds me of Jen in a way where it's like she could have been interesting. Like she could have been like an interesting student to like Megamind, just as Jen could have been an interesting student to like Poe. But again, you have an interesting idea, but shitty execution. So Keiko, I don't mind her idea, but she just ended up not really doing anything in the film that was important. I mean, she does do a few things. She helps Megamind and the others out a few times, but that's really more. It just really didn't feel like she actually uh, contributed meaningfully. Like she was just there because the writers needed her there. They wanted to push her character. Those moments where she helped the others didn't really feel organic or earned or anything like that. She was really just there because the plot wanted her to be there. Hmm. And yeah, how the fuck does she have more viewers or subscribers or whatever than Roxanne, the news reporter of Metro City? How? How do you like? How? How are you more popular on social media than Roxanne? I just. She's like Jen from Kung Fu Panda 4, but worse. But worse. Because at least Jen ended up doing something. I mean, granted, like, Keiko got to, he kind of like She got to work alongside Megamind, and Jen got to work. Then Jen got to be the successor to Poe. But like, it's like at least Jen ended up doing something meaningful, like something that felt kind of meaningful. Whereas Keiko, I mean, she works under Megamind now, but it doesn't really feel all that meaningful. It just feels flat and under. Well, I wouldn't say unearned. It just feels flat and uninteresting. Sorry. I guess because Roxanne is not on social media. Yeah, but it's like since social media is a thing in Megamind too, just how? Because I would think that like hmm, I don't know. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Yeah, there's really no way that the girl was more popular than Roxanne in the city. Roxanne was a really important character in the first film, not just to the audience, but to literally everyone in Metro City. There wasn't a single person who didn't know who she was. But no, apparently Keiko's more popular. I'm like, how? Movie logic. It's just no. So Keiko, the little girl, was just like dumb. Yeah, that's the thing. We had never heard of her until now. Like, if the movie had, hinted at her existence, that would have been fine. But again, you get the whole these people didn't watch the first film vibes. So yeah, they pulled that out of their asses too. Not just the Doom Syndicate, but Keiko as well. Yeah, it's just telling and not showing. Another writing mistake. So many writing mistakes in Megamind 2. So many where it's like that you would think they would have done at least one thing right, but they didn't do a single thing right. Not one. I don't know. There's just so much wrong with this movie. And there's another thing that didn't make any fucking sense. So Roxanne became the mayor. I'm not joking. She became the mayor at the end of the film. See, the original mayor was pretty useless throughout the film, which I'm not gonna complain about. I mean, I'm not gonna complain about that. That's not what bothered me. See, the thing is that like literally she has one argument with the mayor at the end of the film, and then not even like a minute later, there's this time card that said like one quick re-election later, she became the mayor. After she argued with the mayor and said that he was basically spineless throughout the whole movie, which is not wrong, and that she could do a better job mayor. Again, not wrong, but it's like she became the mayor so quickly, and I was like, how are you not? It's just like it felt so forced, and I'm like, bitch, like that should have happened more organically. Like she became the mayor way too quickly, and I'm just like, yeah, okay. Hmm. Yeah, I laughed at that joke about the Titanic too, but it was really only like a chuckle. That was it. So that part about Roxanne being the mayor so quickly, like that with her being the mayor, just it should have happened more organically. So see, this movie is fucking up my vocal cords, just like the last one. Hmm. Oh, Megamind is an absolutely terrible movie. There are no redeemable qualities about it. I mean, like I want to say it had an interesting idea, but and it did in some ways, but like the execution was just absolutely awful. Oh, you could hear a bit of Sonic and the Mayor's voice? Oh, okay. I honestly didn't know this, but yeah. So what else? Yeah, the humor is liquid shit. Wait, are we done with the story? Because I feel like, are there any other problems with the story? I think we covered just about all of them. I think we covered all of them. Yeah, I guess that's all of them. Um, Let me just fix that a bit. Shit. So I'm just gonna duplicate that hoe, erase that. Okay, so let's go on to the next point, the humor. Well, actually, we should probably talk about the dialogue first. Actually, you could say that this both of these tie into the same point. The dialogue and humor are shit. They were shit. Like, they were absolutely dreadful to listen to. The jokes were lame, the dialogue, the lines, everything was lame. It was like the writers, and again, these are the same fucking writers from the first movie. I don't know how. I don't know how, but they are. Like, it feels like the script was written. It feels like the script had been written by someone who had never written a joke before, and that's present throughout the entire film because there isn't for the most part, there are no funny jokes. There are only like maybe one, two, or three jokes that made me laugh. I can legit count the number of times on one hand I actually laughed. I think up to three. And even then, they were like laugh out loud or belly laugh moments. No, just like chuckles, and that was it. Just a simple chuckle, and that was it. So the humor, the jokes were shit. Very hit or miss, usually miss, like even more than Kung Fu Panda 4. At least Kung Fu Panda 4 made me laugh a few good times. This didn't this barely made me laugh. Barely. Like just barely. And the dialogue just in general was awful. I was like, these lines are not good. Whoever it's like these were the same writers from the first movie. Like, did y'all forget how to write? Did y'all forget how to write jokes? Did y'all forget how to write dialogue? Because every single one of these lines is cringe. Almost every single one is cringe. Almost every single character, no, every single character in this film has cringeworthy lines. The heroes do, the villains do, the mayor does, any other character, literally everyone does. I was tempted to say that whoever wrote this movie should go and take some basic screenwriting classes, but then I was like, well, no, wait, it's the same person, same two people from the first movie, and I'm like, you have to be shitting me. You have to be shitting me. There's no way these two are the same writers. There's no way. Hmm. There's no way. The script was so bad that it reminded me of Ice Age: The Adventures of Buck Wild. Because like that also had a very shitty script. Like no joke. If you listen to both movies, you can feel like the scripts are very similar. That they're both very shitty. Whereas the jokes, most of them don't land, and they both feel like they were written by they've been written by someone who had never written a joke before. So so I don't know what happened. Maple says either they were affected by the writer's strike or they just needed a paycheck, or both. Probably, probably, because I know that they can write. I know they could have written better than this. So I don't know what happened. They must not have been paid enough.
or or they just really need a paycheck and like they just and they just weren't treated very well. Or maybe it was I don't know. I don't know what the I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but really, regardless, they could have done a better job. I just and like when you combine this with the poor animation, you just get something that is just that I mean, it's like this was made by professionals, a professional TV studio or whatever. What were y'all doing? There's no way in hell you thought this was good. There's no way in hell. I'm just shaking my head because it's just I don't know. I'm just like, bitch, what the fuck? What? Oh my god. What were y'all doing? What happened? Dreamworks might have messed up big time. No, they definitely messed up big time. It wasn't a might have. It wasn't a, oh, it wasn't like, they kind of fucked up. It was like, no, they, ah, they fucked up big time. And again, this was supposed to be, the movie was supposed to be a pilot for a TV show that nobody cared for or wanted. So nobody was asking for it. They didn't. Really, I'm getting tired of companies greenlighting projects that nobody's asking for. Listen to your damn fans for a change, please. Damn, I'm fucking up my voice. Oh my god. Can't blame Will Ferrell, even he thinks it's bad. Oh, does he? I don't even know he commented on it. Did he comment on the movie? Will Ferrell likely read the script and was like, nah, fam, I'm not coming back for that shit. Damn. I would have done the same thing if I'm gonna be honest. These movies are causing you to lose your voice. They are. I try not to cough too much, but I have to because like this shit's building up in my lungs. Yeah, that's the thing. Like they couldn't even get like the voice actors back. I don't think they got any of them back. Did they? I could be wrong, but I don't think they got any of them back, or at least most of them back. Which is a similar thing with Kung Fu Panda 4. I shouldn't be surprised at this point. Although at least Kung Fu Panda 4 was treated with more care, but still, excuse me, not enough care. But yeah, like yeah, that's the thing. It's like the voice acting Megamind is voiced by the same guy who voiced Lightning McQueen in those Carbs Mater shorts. I actually kind of hear it now, if I'm going to be honest. I actually kind of hear it now. But, like, the voice acting was kind of bad. And I say kind of bad, and like, it wasn't, like, the actors themselves weren't really bad, but as Maple said, like, they just felt miscast. Like, they didn't really fit these characters. So, and not to mention that they had to deal with shitty scripts. So it's like, shitty lines, a shitty script. So, like, it's not so much that they were bad, but like they just had shitty material to work with. They weren't casted very well, and they had shitty scripts. So that led to voice work that I mean wasn't bad, but could have been better. And it wouldn't surprise me if they had poor voice direction as well. So yeah, he sounded a lot more like Owen Wilson than he did as Lightning Farrell. Damn. Even Adam Lambert was in this movie. Oh, was he? Oh my God. But yeah, there's no excuse for this. Like, this movie was just poorly managed overall. Poorly managed. So, anything else that was bad about this movie? I feel like we might have covered. Did we cover everything? I feel like we might have covered everything. But then again, I also feel like there are other things. I guess you could say the climax was stupid because Megamind and his friends defeat the villains in really dumb ways. The mind gets trapped in cement that Megamind activated from a truck. Oh my God, I literally forgot what the names of the Doom Syndicate were, except for Behemoth. That one I remember. I can't remember anyone else's names. That's how irrelevant and forgettable they are to me. I cannot remember their names. Oh wait, no. The Dark Knight guy was Nighty Knight. I know his name was supposed to be lame, but like they were trying to go for a funny joke there. It didn't hit. It didn't land. Sorry. But forgot what the other two were named. The Black Storm girl, basically Discount Storm, and the Mime guy. I don't remember their names. I'm sorry. Because to be honest, Behemoth and Nighty Night were they stood out a bit. Well, no, actually, the Mime guy stood out the most to me after all. I think the Storm Girl was probably like the one that stood out to me the least. So it was like the Mime guy, and then the Dark Knight, and then the Behemoth, and then the Storm Girl. So like in that order of like how much they stood out to me. So it's like so yeah, like the Mime guy had the most interesting design, but I cannot remember what his name was. Nor do I care to look it up. I'm not gonna look it up. Sorry. So like yeah, like the Mime guy gets defeated by cement. Like he gets trapped by cement, sorry. The Storm Girl gets tied to some sort of cable and then electrocutes herself. And then what else? Behemoth gets Roxanne literally drives a fire truck into him. Like she rams him with the fire truck and crushes him into a wall, and that's it. And that was it. Like she literally did that. And let's see. Oh yeah, and Keiko, the little girl, she threw a flash grenade at Nighty Night because apparently he doesn't like light. He's allergic to light. It literally makes him vanish or whatever. I don't know. Like it was all stupid. She hit him with a flash grenade and then he just like disappeared. I don't know. But not even for long. He came back, but he disappeared temporarily. And then the villains, okay, so even if we push aside the fact that the villains don't have a reason to be in this movie, which they don't, the way they, like, for some reason, they hide out in a prison waiting for Mega Man's signal. Megamind, I said Mega Man. Megamind's signal to, for them to come out of hiding and then help him take over the city. But they, like, spend all their time in a prison for some reason when they could easily just get out and find another hideout. I don't know. It makes no sense. This movie makes absolutely no sense. I can't. Basically, I guess I should just point that out. Like, what the Doom Syndicate were up to for several years made no sense. Oh my God, the more I look, the more flaws I find. Are there any other flaws with this movie? Can y'all think of any? Did I cover everything? I feel like I'm a. Hmm. Oh yeah, going back to the Roxanne becoming the mayor point, like there could have been an interesting build up to that because apparently the movie wanted to have some sort of setup for it, where Roxanne was just tired of her traditional newscaster job. She felt bored with it. She wanted to do something new. So like, okay, have her be mayor. I'm like, okay, but there still needs to be a build up for that. So like, they did have an interesting idea for a build up, but the actual build up was non-existent. So, oops. Yeah, fuck this movie. The mayor had an assistant in this movie literally named Cristino Cristo. Cristo, whatever. Cristino Cristo. That literally just sounds like the same name twice. Yeah, which I'm sure they wanted that effect, but it was just lame. Yeah, this movie is just, oh my God, my voice. I can't talk for very long. This movie was just stupid. Sorry, this movie was overall lazy. The animation is lazy. The writing is lazy. Like, see, the thing is that if they wanted to add, they wanted to add more to Megamind's story. They could have, they could have written around this backstory in the first story, in the first film. Like, you can do that. You can write around what you've established, but they didn't write around it. They literally drove a bulldozer through it. Hence the backstory. Backstory. I'm gonna put that in quotes. That makes absolutely no fucking sense here. But yeah, this movie was overall lazy. Clearly, like there were a lot of corners cut, the animation and the writing in particular, and the voice acting. So it was just very bad. I knew this movie was going to be bad, and but when I watched it, I ended up and I ended up feeling like I knew it was going to be bad, and it ended up being bad. Like I felt the exact same way I knew I was going to feel. So, but I ended up laughing at some points in the movie, but not when there was a joke being made. Not when there was a joke being made, but when there was just a line so stupid or a moment so stupid or whatever. Like I was just laughing at the stupidity of the movie, not the actual humor in the movie, the stupidity of it. Like how bad it was. That's what I was laughing at. So, yeah. Oh my God, my voice. It's I can feel it. It's really getting worse. It's getting worse. I'm trying to drink as much water as I can. Oh my God. Yeah, I agree. Mean Girls 2 actually felt like it served more purpose than this movie did. Granted, Mean Girls 2 was vastly inferior to the original. Sorry, that's just how I feel. The original was just a lot better. But at least Mean Girls 2 had some substance. This movie has no substance. It didn't feel like it served a purpose. Mean Girls 2 served some purpose, but Megamind 2, no, it didn't. It really didn't feel like it served any sort of purpose. It had an interesting idea, but the execution was just absolutely awful. I would say you couldn't make a worse movie if you tried, but that would literally imply anyone was actually trying here, which they clearly weren't. Yeah, you can tell that there was a lack of effort here. Like I was like, these were the same writers from the first movie. What the fuck happened? Yeah, even the direct to DVD Disney sequels felt more relevant and had more purpose and were of higher quality. This was shit. I haven't even watched the new Mean Girls movie, but for the Mean Girls 2 movie that came out before the new Mean Girls movie, like that one actually served more of a purpose and was kind of an interesting take on the original story than whatever Megamind 2 is here. And yeah, this movie, was definitely I should say lazy and pointless. Like we didn't really need this. Hell, Megamind Button of Doom, a little short that took place 15-minute film, I think. 15-minute short film that took place shortly after the first film. That one was funnier and had more substance. It was of much higher quality than whatever Megamind 2 was. How is it that a short film has more quality and more effort put into it than this fucking film? And the Button of Doom didn't destroy Megamind's character. Just explored like his first few days of being evil, or at least like his all around first time of being evil. I'm not being evil, being the hero. Sorry, being the hero. Just showing a few of his escapades of being a new hero. But that one was enjoyable. The first movie was enjoyable. This was not. So yeah, like fuck this movie. So yeah, Dreamworks was just really the TV studio was just really lazy with this. Megamind 1 and the Button of Doom, both of those were good. This was not. Megamind 2, technically Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate, but I'm not gonna say the whole fucking thing. The movie doesn't even deserve me saying the whole title. Sorry. Yeah, this might actually be the worst movie I've ever seen within this year. And one of the worst movies definitely of all time that I've ever seen. I don't think it's as bad as the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. I forgot what the actual title of the movie is, but I don't care. It's not as bad as that, but it's not much better. It's like maybe like I think I gave Buck Wild like 1 out of 10. This would probably be like 2 out of 10. I think 3 out of 10 is too generous. That's how I feel. Even Madam Web was better than this movie. It probably was, if I'm going to be honest. Mean Girls 2024 was mediocre at best, but not as bad as Mean Girls 2 or this movie. Okay, I need to go and watch Mean Girls 2024 then. It might actually, because it probably is better than Mean Girls 2, but I have to go and look. Yeah, see, that's the thing. At least with a movie as bad as Madam Web, I haven't watched it, but from what I've heard, it's bad. Like with bad movies like that, you can still have some fun with them. Like if a movie is bad, it can be so bad it's good, or so bad I just love ripping it apart. Like if it's gonna be bad, it should at least be one of those two categories because you can still get some entertainment value out of it. You don't have that with Megamind 2. There's no entertainment value. It's not so bad it's good, or it's not so bad that I'm having a blast ripping it apart. Well, I kind of am, but it's like it's just so bad that you just don't want to touch it. You don't want to get near it with a 10-foot pole, as Tan Man said earlier today on my Discord. And I was like, I was like, no, not even a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't want to be in the same zip code as this movie. That's how bad it is. Like, and plus, bad movies still at least have one or two good things about them, or at least one or two decent things. Like, just a few things you can appreciate. This movie has none of that. Just none of that. What's funny is that when I Googled Megamind 2, that Button Doom short was the first thing to pop up and not this movie. I did that with my cousin as well. Like, I asked her to, like, she told me where I could, like, look up, where I could watch, like, I asked her, like, do you know where I could, like, maybe watch, Megamind, the Doom Syndicate for free? And then she said, and then she said, like, and then she sent me a link, but it was, like, to, oh, wait, actually, no, I'm sorry, that's not the same thing. Never mind, sorry. She sent me a link to the TV show because she got confused. Never mind. But when I looked up the movie myself, um, when I looked at the movie myself, it actually showed the Button of Doom. I was like, wait, no, I typed in Megamind 2. It's like, no, that's the Button of Doom. It's like, no, Google, no, I mean the other movie. Like, because apparently the movie's title is so lame that apparently, like, when you type in Megamind 2, you don't even get that. That's just really funny. Yeah, even Google doesn't acknowledge it. Google's like, I know what you mean, Chi-Man. I'm not going to acknowledge it. It's just bad. I'm not going to acknowledge Megamind 2. The Button of Doom is Megamind 2, not Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. No. No, I wouldn't believe you if you said that the Fox and the Han movie was actually a prequel. I barely even remember that movie. The only thing I remember was the whole train scene of the dog getting hit. That's literally the only thing I remember. And I don't even think I've ever watched the sequel. I didn't even know there was a sequel. But whatever. Anyway, oh my voice. It's dying. It's dying like hell. Okay. I can't talk for much longer, especially when I have to go to work early tomorrow anyway. So, but I can't think of any other flaws. Can you guys think of any other flaws? Because I can't. But yeah, this movie was overall lazy, pointless, incompetent, unfinished, really rushed, like poor animation, poor writing, poor dialogue and humor, poor voice acting. Well, kind of. Uh, dumb plot, dumb climax, just overall lazy, pointless. We really didn't need this film. This film didn't enhance the Megamind lore. It didn't add to the Megamind lore. All it just did was all it just was just some lame pilot for a TV show. It got the Camp Coral treatment. SpongeBob, Camp Coral, Sponge on the Run. That was basically a promotion movie for the new series Camp Coral that nobody asked for, not even Steven Hillenberg, who said he didn't want spin-offs, but he wasn't alive at the time, so he had long been dead. So yeah, like if this feels like it feels similar to Camp Coral, really, Megamind 2. Where Megamind 2 feels like Sponge on the Run, but even worse. It's even worse than Sponge on the Run. Sponge on the Run was bad, but Megamind 2 is even worse than Sponge on the Run. Even though it got the Camp Coral treatment too, where it went from where we go from pilot, which is the pilot of the new show, Megamind Rules. Well, that's Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate, and then they go over to Megamind Rules, which I refuse to watch. I'm not watching that shit. Sorry. I can, but I don't want to. So I'm not doing that. This film should never have existed. Agreed. Even an AI could probably make a better Megamind 2 than this, right? Reminds me of Wish. Wish was lazy and generic, but I'd rather be watching that than this. Wish was better than Megamind 2, but that's not saying much. Yeah, I'm not sure what else needs to be said about Megamind 2 either. It's just very bad. Very, very bad. Hi, Axel. And anyone else who's joined. Sorry if I missed you. This film should never have been made. Yeah, exactly. It's not even the so bad it's good kind. It's just that it's so bad that it's just bad. And you don't want that. You don't want a film to be like that. You don't. I'd rather watch the Venom movies than this mess. And the Venom movies weren't even very good. Talk about going from masterpiece to master shit. Like liquid shit. Not even just shit. Not solid shit, but liquid shit, which is worse, in my opinion. Like liquid shit. Because at least solid shit you can just pick up and throw away. Liquid shit that's everywhere. And it's like this movie is just all over the place. It's just bad. It's just fascinating how almost everyone around the world has come to an agreement that this movie is absolute mega shit. Yeah, same. Although to be honest, I didn't start out hating the movie that much. I was just bored with it. And again, because again, I could not watch it one sitting. I just got bored with it. The movie is just that boring and unfunny and unentertaining. But I wasn't that I wasn't that like mad at it at first. I didn't hate it as much as everyone else did at first, but the more I watched it, the more I was like, yeah, this sucks. I mean, I knew it sucked from the beginning, but like the more I watched it, the more I was like, yeah, I'm out. I am out. I'm tapping out. I didn't tap out except to take breaks, but I had to like I just couldn't anymore. I was like, when the movie was finished, I was like, thank God. You're all over the place. Also, hi, just a ride. And screw you, Scott. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, it's funny how this movie came out on Peacock the same day as Dune Part 2. Yeah, that is crazy. Good thing this movie came out on Peacock. Good thing it came out on Peacock because if it had been actually shown in theaters, a lot of people would have been pissed. The best film of the year and the worst film of the year released on the same day, right? I never watched Dune Part 2, but but yeah, like that if Dune Part 2 is the best film of the year, then that's really insane. That's really a coincidence, a surprise. Wish was at least somewhat creative in terms of the animation, even if it didn't work at all. True. Yeah, Wish was at least somewhat creative in terms of the animation. But Megamind 2, there's really nothing good I can say about this. I'm going to like I have the positive slide right here and I can't think of anything positive. I guess I guess I like the moments where I really should not be speaking this much. I had to end the stream pretty quickly. But I like the moments um where um where Megamind realized that he can't really he couldn't, do this whole crime fighting thing on his own and he needed the help of his friends and the little girl for some reason. I mean, I guess that was nice, as well as Minion's reunion with Megamind. That was nice too. But again, the whole feud that Megamind had with Minion did not need to happen because we already had that in the first film. We didn't need it in the second film. But I guess the writers needed a reason to have Minion out of the picture so that Megamind could just fumble around and not know what to do until Minion had to come and help him out. So I guess I'll give those two positives. So so Roxanne. And the moment where Roxanne and Keiko gave Megamind a much needed pep talk was nice. And the moment where Megamind and Minion reunited was nice. That's all I can say. And one of those didn't even need to happen. So those are all the positives I'm giving this film. I can't think of anything else. I can't say the animation was good because it wasn't. I can't say the music was good because it was barely any. I mean, there was some, but it was so forgettable. There were only like a few tracks in the film, I think. The story was lame. Um, the writing was lame. Dialogue, humor, everything was lame. I can't think of a single positive thing. The voice actors weren't bad themselves, but like they, they had shitty material to work with. So, and they didn't feel very, they didn't feel like they were cast very well. So, yeah. Oh, there's a movie that was almost as bad as this one, but you don't want to leak it. Okay, that's fine. Oh, you don't want to name it because it got leaked a few months ago. Okay, that's fine. I will. That's fine. We'll just wait and see for that one. Yeah, that was fine, I guess. Yeah, like that was the only good film, the only good moment in the film where I was like, okay, this was nice, but that's literally it. Like where they all like, it's like they're all like, you know what, Megamind, we can help you out. All his friends came together and helped him out. That was nice, but that was literally it for all the good things in this film. Everything else just sucked, and they were just, and the humor just felt like infantile at times, where it was like there were poop jokes about like Megamind kept going on and on about how parakeets poop. And he was about to buy one for Minion towards the end of the film because Minion really wanted one, but Megamind said no the first time. And then the parakeet poops, and then Megamind's like, "I'm out." I'm like, "What's this movie and poop jokes about parakeets?" And then Megamind ends up creating. He actually had a robotic parakeet for Minion this whole time. I think. I don't know when he built it, but clearly it was before this movie happened. Um, and then which I mean, which is a cool thing, but then the robotic parakeet poops on Megamind's hand, and then we're supposed to laugh at it. It's like that's not funny. This is juvenile humor. The dialogue is lame. That was just lame. The dialogue was just where they were just shit. And dialogue and humor was shit and juvenile. Let's say that juvenile. So it kind of reminded me of the first movie where Megamind and Roxanne had to give Metro Man a pep talk. That was probably the only parallel to the original that I thought worked. Yeah, exactly. That was an interesting parallel here, and it was good. But that's all I'm gonna say for this film. Was it with modern kids movies? I feel I need to add in more poop jokes. I don't know. I mean, like I know humor is subjective. Poop jokes can work in certain circumstances, but you have to be classy about it. You have to be elegant. You have to be subtle. You have to finesse that shit. Well, not you don't necessarily have to be subtle, but you get what I mean. Like it just shouldn't be shoehorned in. Poop jokes, I mean, like toilet humor can work, but you have to know how to do it because if you don't know how to do it, you get this where it's just juvenile and forced. I don't know why modern kids movies feel the need to think they think, oh, kids like poop jokes. Not necessarily. And even if they do, you gotta do it. You gotta do it well because if you don't, you get this. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for Megamind 2. Uh, other than that one moment where I guess I should say I mean, this is really just an extension of the first 2 points, but the moment where Megamind and the others come together to work as a group, I mean, that was nice, but it's really just an extension of the first 2 points. I like how Megamind was like, okay, Keiko, you can work with us and I'll train you to be a crime fighter. But really, like, she was just so pushy and annoying throughout the whole thing that I kind of didn't care. But I mean, it was nice of Megamind to like have a student, so I guess it was that. But like again, this film has no substance, so I can't be bothered to care. Okay, okay, let me just go to the conclusion. Okay, so the comments. Any final comments? These movies are both not good. They're just not. They're not good. Not even Kung Fu Panda 4 is mediocre. Megamind 2 is just flat out terrible. And everyone literally agrees with that. Which is funny because normally films that are bad at least have some people that like them. I can't name a single person that would ever actually like this film. Megamind 2 is just hated by literally everyone. That's how bad it is. Oh, my voice. Oh my god. Shit. Okay, let me hurry and do this. Oh, my throat's hurting too. I feel like I'm gonna lose my voice at this rate. Okay, so Megamind 2. Make it feel like it's getting worse. Oh my god. Okay. Megamind 2 was here, let me try Kung Fu Panda 4 first. Kung Fu Panda 4 was aggressively mediocre and generic. Megamind 2 was borderline terrible. Like, no, it was extremely terrible. Let's just hope that this rant stream was worth me losing my voice. But anyway, Megamind 2 was extremely terrible and unredeemable. Like, there are no redeemable qualities of this movie. Sorry, can't name a single one. I didn't even care about that, especially with the way Megamind treated Minion like shit for no reason. Going back to that whole thing where Megamind's development and character was really flanderized. Where he's basically just an asshole in this film, treating Minion like shit for no reason. And then doing his character development where it's like, you already had this feud with Minion, why are you going through it again? And you didn't treat him that badly in the first movie, so I don't know what the fuck happened. So, Kung Fu Panda 4, 2 out of 5 stars. Megamind 3.2, 0.5 out of 4 stars. I'm gonna give Kung Fu Panda 4 a 5 out of 10. I don't want 4. 4 seems too. Oh my god. 4 seems too harsh, but 6 seems a little too. It seems too generous, so I'm gonna go with 5. So it's the same as Maples. 2 out of 4, 5 out of 10. Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. Oh. Um, I guess I need to think. 2 out of 10. A little bit more than the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. The Buck Wild film of the Ice Age series, which I gave a 1 out of 10, I think. But this one gets a 2 because it's slightly better than Buck Wild, but not by much. Slightly. So, Kung Fu Panda 4, 5 out of... Damn. Damn. Okay, that should buy me a few more minutes. Kung Fu Panda 4, 5 out of 10. Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate, aka Megamind 2, 2 out of 10. I'm trying not to speak too quickly, but the more I speak, the worse this gets. So, Yeah, 5 out of 10 and 2 out of 10. Let me just fix that. Not good. Oh, let me also put this together. Put this here. DreamWorks. Get it together. What are y'all doing? Get it together. Because I'm really tired of their inconsistency. Guys, you gotta step up. You gotta if you're gonna make a Kung Fu Panda 5, if you're gonna make a fifth film for the Kung Fu Panda series, step the fuck up. Please step up. Oh my god. Ow. Okay, the end. And the only reason Megamind 2 is not a zero is because I pledged to never give any movie a flat out zero. Fair. I'm actually no, I'm not above giving movies zeros. I'm really not above that. I'm not. That's how critical I am, bitches. But anyway, but I can understand the reasoning for other people not wanting to give a movie uh, less than a zero. I mean, a zero, or less than a one, or a 0.5, or whatever. Did DreamWorks did DreamWorks hire a 3-year-old to make those two movies? Probably. Probably. Who the fuck knows at this point? Because these movies do feel juvenile. Like they were written by a middle schooler, like a middle schooler, or I wouldn't even say high schooler, like middle schooler, maybe a high schooler. But yeah, very juvenile. This was this this was the same studio that released Shrek 2 and Shark Tale in the exact same year. True. Are you seeing The Wild Robot? Not yet. Maybe in the future, but not right now. I give the same rating. Okay, Kind Gamer Patrick. Hey, let's go. Let's go. I can only hope The Wild Robot turns out great. The trailer for it was beautiful. Oh yeah, I've heard of that movie. I saw the trailer in theaters when I was just before watching Kung Fu Panda 4. It seems so it seems okay. Like I'm not really interested in seeing it, but I might give it a shot. But the trailer seems fine. Yeah, I know people are like, oh, what's wrong with DreamWorks after seeing Kung Fu Panda 4 and like Ming Mind 2, they're like, what's no after like people are like after seeing Kung Fu Panda 4 and Megamind 2, people are like, what's going on with DreamWorks? But then it's like, they've always been inconsistent if you think about it. But I think they're at their all-time low now because they're flopping. They're flopping with, I mean, Trolls Band Together. I don't know how well that movie's doing, but Ruby Gilman, Teenage Kraken didn't do so well because of the poor marketing. And then you have Kung Fu Panda 4, which actually isn't doing that badly. I think it's making this money back in the box office at least, but it's not a good film. And you got Megamind 2, which is just absolutely awful. And I'm afraid to watch the series, which I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch this show, Megamind Rules. I don't. Although I sure hope that those that lost their jobs at DreamWorks due to layouts are able to find something else. Me too, because it sucks being laid off from your job. I hope those guys find something else. I really do. DreamWorks makes these sequels for money, basically. But again, which is not necessarily bad. Like if you want money in this industry, that's fine, but that's not an excuse for poor quality work. I don't care if you're not super passionate about like working in the film industry. If you just want money, that's fine. But again, it's not an excuse to do a poor job. because I don't like my job as a cashier, if I'm going to be honest, but yet I try to do a good job because, like, I want to give good customer service, even though I hate the job itself. But, um, the like, this really just, the like, so what, but like, so like, wanting to make money is really not an excuse for poor quality. I remember everyone was dick riding DreamWorks after Puss in Boot's Last Wish, and now they are turning against them. Basically, because again, DreamWorks has always been inconsistent, but like I feel like their inconsistency has hit an all-time low, and people are even angrier with them or just disappointed with them more than ever. It was so obnoxious seeing YouTube thumbnails on Puss in Boots 2 being all DreamWorks is the best ever and Disney can suck it. I don't think I've ever seen those, but that must have been obnoxious. But anyway, I really have to end the stream now because my voice is about to give out and I don't want to lose it permanently. So, because I actually have to go to work tomorrow and I might not be able to speak at this rate. So, yeah, I have to end the stream now. I normally wouldn't, but I have to. And now these people are turning on them after popping off their dick for the past year or two. Just fuck off. Yeah, I hate how fickle people can be. Like, be consistent about how you treat people, please. Yeah, bandwagoning is really fucking annoying. Really, really fucking annoying. But yeah, let's end it now. Sorry, I would talk more, but my voice is about to give out. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, I care about you guys that much, so I'm gonna destroy my voice for you. But I don't think it's gonna be permanently damaged as long as I rest it. But anyway, well, what? Oh, God. Let's drink some more water. It's about to dry out. Oh my God. I can literally feel it getting worse. Oh, shit. And that bought me a bit more time. I feel like Jason Griffin when he had to do voice work for Sonic Unleashed. I feel that now as the werehog. Oh man. Anyway, bye everyone. It's getting worse. Um, all right. Thank you all so much for watching this rant stream. Maple, Hangular, Patrick, Thomas, anybody else who came. Thank you for coming. I'm glad I got all that out of my system. Next time we will cover the Trolls trilogy, but not like anytime soon. I mean, I might just wait on that because I have to watch the first two Trolls movies again, just in case. There's also a third one again, just in case. But we'll see. I'm probably gonna like not do any streams for a while because school just started. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, yeah, thank you, kind gamer Patrick. I'll try to get well soon. But anyway, bye everyone. Thank you for watching, and until next time, deuces. Oh, I will. Thank you, Maple. Bye everyone.